Alright, hello everybody, welcome back to another stream. I say that every stream. We are joined today by Brett from Wolf Paranormal and Sam from Life Afterlife ITC. How is everybody doing?
Why do you
Good.
always ask me that as I'm taking a sip of coffee?
It's just like it's a general start of conversation and a nicety. It's like, you know, I'm acknowledging you.
We've got an echo. We've got a big, massive echo.
It's probably me.
Hang on. It was me. I've got the stream up. Sorry.
Is it
I've
better now?
muted. Yeah, I've muted it. Sorry. I've just put the stream up to get the chat popped out. That was my fault. Sorry.
That's all right. That was you getting out of answering that question, wasn't it? How are you doing, Sam?
I'm great. Absolutely fantastic. I'm just been binge watching Father Ted since yesterday.
Nice. What's been happening on Father Ted?
I'm up to episode 17, I think. I think I needed to cheer myself up, so that's why I started binge watching it again. You know?
Do you know, I've never watched it. I
It's
have
flip-
never. Yeah, and everybody says you should watch it because it's supposed to be really funny. But I've never. I, Kim, I've never watched it. I've seen clips of it on YouTube, and it looks funny. I saw there was one I was watching the other day. Oddly enough, with Father Ted that popped up, and it was when he passed some racist comments about Chinese people, and they were looking through the window
Yeah,
as he said
that.
it, and then everybody in the village was calling him a racist within minutes.
Yeah, actually, that's the shortened version because for some reason everybody is getting offended now. But if you look back on that clip, you'll see a tiny little square piece of black tip on the window. He actually goes to the window to call the Chinese people back, but the little square piece of tape lines up with him there, and he's yeah. That is actually cut out of it because people get easily butthurt.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But hilarious stuff. Really, us in Ireland, we don't get cancelled. We can say what we want.
Yep. Thank you, Kim. Say hello to everybody in the chat and thank you for joining us this evening. As everyone can see by the topic, this is a topic we've kind of brushed on discussion before. We've kind of gone into sleep paralysis a little more extensively. But the reason that I've chosen this topic this week is because when I was out with my dad this week and we were doing planting and whatnot, we got onto the topic of paranormal. I started talking about these streams. And my dad had said to me, "Oh, we used to live in this place when you were little and you would have loved it." And apparently things happened all the time. And I didn't know about this. And the house had a veranda all the way around it. So it had a door on every room that opened to the outside. And the walls of this house were made out of like the wheat husk, the outside of the wheat and oat shell. And they compacted it and made it into, walls and things like that. Yeah. So in the summertime, you'd have this eerie kind of creaking in the walls, which is not paranormal.
Yeah, it's just expansion.
Exactly, yeah. But he said this house, my eldest sister was only very young at the time and was in her room late at night, and she got absolutely freaked out because there was a man standing in the door leading outside with a hat and a dry as a bone coat on. Just a dark figure standing in the door, and then it was gone. And still to this day, she swears she was wide awake and she saw this figure.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it was the Hat Man or not, I don't know. But it's kind of ironic that it bears such a striking resemblance to so many other sightings around the world. So leads you into the question of all these sightings that people are having of Hat Men. Are they the one entity, or are there many different sightings of spirits and other entities that look the same or similar that people are suggesting is this one Hat Man? What do you guys think?
First off, I'd just like to inform everybody. We don't actually know, me and Sam, what these topics are going to be until like 30 minutes before.
Yeah.
I literally found out 30 minutes ago what today's topic was.
Sorry.
The Atman for me is a really interesting one because it makes me wonder why so many people actually see this thing with a hat on. You know, and a lot of people, they find that more significant than anything else, because if you read the reports of people who've said they've seen this, whatever it is, the first thing they always mention is that. You know, so is the hat some way significant, or is it even a hat?
Mm-hmm.
You know, for all we know, it could be something, I don't know, extraterrestrial, interdimensional, that actually has an head shaped like a hat. Is it?
Well, if it's, our common sightings are 17 and 1800s people. A man never left the house without his hat.
Well, that was the other point I was going to make. Is a lot of what people report as ghosts tend to be Victorian, and in Victorian times, a man never went out anywhere without his, and it literally was a top hat. You know, that was considered, it was considered the same as putting a pair of trousers on. You didn't go out without your hat on as well. You know, like you wouldn't go without putting your trousers on. Sam?
Well, I have a funny answer to that. Well, in Ireland it's piss and rain most of the time, so I can't blame ghosts for wearing hats, to be honest with you. Do you know what I mentioned about, if people do honestly see sightings, it's usually 17, 1800s people, and men wore hats. I don't think it's anything, specific to a certain hat man, like similar to Slender Man, who was fiction or anything like that. But people do tend to sensationalize a certain thing. I don't think there's anything special about it. It's just a ghost with a hat on.
Yeah.
I get more and more skeptical, as the years go by. I'm sorry.
Well, you've got to keep a skeptical mind. I mean, in regard to my family story, now in rural Australia, particularly in the mountainous areas where I am, and near the Blue Mountains, Australia, which is up near where we lived, you had the countrymen who got out on their horse or their horse and carriage, and every day when they went out, they put on their hat and they put on their dry-as-a-bone or their trench coat, and they went out and did what they had to. Mm-hmm. So it would have been quite common to see a spirit, if there was spirits around, in that kind of attire. So,
see, what is really interesting about Hat Man is how closely connected he is actually to sleep paralysis. Because they take, when you read a lot of these sleep paralysis reports, they tend to be split into two different types. A lot of the time, but we'll concentrate on the ones where they see something. And a lot of people claim that they wake up with some kind of shadow figure either in the room with them or actually sitting on them at the time. Now, they tend to break down into two types. They're either a dark female type entity that a lot of people describe, or it's and that's the one that tends to be sitting on them,
Yep.
or it tends to be the big tall guy in the top hat standing at the bottom of the bed. Do you know? And that's what's really interesting about it, because there's the psychology argument that people could feel trapped, and the mind goes into overdrive and then invents this something's in the room causing it. But the interesting thing is why a lot of the time it's wearing a top hat. Why would psychology generate a top hat? Because people nowadays don't associate people wearing top hats. Had we been in Victorian times, you'd expect people to imagine a guy to be standing in a top hat. Nowadays, you wouldn't expect to see a guy in a top hat. That would be considered really unusual. But these
Not
people,
around here.
yeah,
Not around here, actually.
but a lot of people always see it with this either top hat or large hat. It's a very distinctive hat, and I just find that really funny how it's closely linked with the sleep paralysis. How it's not just a figure in the room; it's always a figure with a hat on.
See, that fascinates me because I've had sleep paralysis more times than I can count throughout my life, but I've never experienced um, an entity or a sighting or anything in the room with me when I've gone through it. Another thing I thought of when you're mentioning hats, I was reading stories on Reddit of other people who have experienced the Hat Man phenomena, and there has been quite a difference in the hat that Hat
Mm-hmm.
Man is wearing. Some will see the kind of flat, wide brim minister's
Mm-hmm.
kind of hat.
Yeah,
Some people will see a top hat, some will see a cowboy hat.
yeah.
So there is quite a difference.
But the thing is, why the hat at all? And it's the consistency, and a lot of these people ain't even into the paranormal. They are just sufferers of sleep paralysis, and it's been viewed from a scientific point of view. But a lot of these people do describe this shadowy figure wearing a hat of some description.
Yeah.
More often than it. If it's the figure they see that's actually standing in the room rather than being crouched on them, 9 times out of 10, it's wearing some form of hat, which is which
About
is really interesting.
Yeah, I've actually seen a photograph from Sharon Rectory, which we investigated like twice or three times, and there is an image of a shadow figure with a hat on,
Hmm.
you know, and quite. It's like a. It's like a shadow that's been stretched, kind of thing. It's quite long legs, long arms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just don't know.
If you think about it, it kind of like I was scrolling through YouTube earlier today, and the white lady, appearances seem to be coming back. There's a trend, and the Hat Man is very much like white lady sightings.
Yeah.
Everybody's seen a white lady somewhere, every town, every country.
Hmm.
The Hat Man is kind of similar to that. It doesn't mean
Same
that
with
they're connected.
same with black monks. Every area's got its black monk.
Yeah, yeah,
See what and another thing that's interesting with sleep paralysis is when they describe this figure that's crouching over them. They normally say it's basically on their chest. They wake up and it's sitting on their chest, looking down at them. To me, that is more along the description of a succubus or an incubus, depending on what sex you are, or possibly your sexual persuasion as to what you get. But could it be that these shadowy figures aren't the same thing? Could it be a multitude of different things that are turning up and being perceived as shadow figures? Because for all we know, some things may not be able to fully materialize themselves into a form that we as people can see.
yeah,
You know,
exactly right.
we may not be seeing what they actually look like. We could just be seeing a partial apparition type thing. But we have got to consider, whether these things are actually all the same thing, or are they a multitude of different things?
Yeah, I personally think that they're a multitude. I don't think
Hmm.
it's just one one phenomena that's this black hat man demonic figure people are making out to be. I think it's a lot of different things. That's my opinion anyway.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I was thinking right now, and it's sort of goes across the board to all different things. Is the more advanced we've become, the more complicated things have gotten because you look on YouTube, you look on Facebook, you look on the internet and that. How how do you separate the wheat from the chaff, basically?
Mm-hmm.
Because the fact is mixed in with so many sensationalized fiction. It's very hard to, it's made it even more complicated now because just people are claiming these things for the wrong reason. You know, the internet is a great place to get attention for yourself and that, and very often, if you sensationalize something, you get temporarily fixed on your attention and that until something else comes along.
Well,
Yeah.
So,
that's the thing, and it's we know our Slender Man blew up. Now, Atman, when Atman started to put in his appearance, Atman went along the lines of Slender Man and Owlman.
mm,
Is it people are expecting to see this, so they're seeing it more so than it's actually being something?
I just have to interrupt for a second and say a huge happy birthday to Seago.
Happy birthday,
happy
Seago.
birthday.
They weren't impressed by me still being in my dressing gown.
In his dressing gown.
Jackie said something interesting there. I don't think we have black monks in Australia. The reason I don't think you have black monks in Australia, Jack, is because when monks were more commonplace in time, there weren't actually white people in Australia at that point, so there wouldn't have been monks in Australia. So that's probably why there's not many reports, if any, of black monks in Australia.
I thought black monks were just shadows.
Now there are actually there's loads of reports of not just shadow figures, but actually fully formed monks in black cossacks. Like
Oh,
the one at Stockwell bypass near me. He's a full formed apparition. He's actually a monk in a black cassock. He's not a shadow. He's actually a black. It's a fully formed black cassock.
And your land over there is, well, in regard to white man, you have a lot more history, a lot lengthier
Yeah,
history.
yeah,
Um, we don't, in regard to the white man, our land is not that old.
yeah.
They
Well,
haven't been here that long.
if you go back to medieval times, which was when the church was really prevalent over here, and across most of Europe, that was when there'd be a monastery pretty much in every town. So monks would be really commonplace. At that point in Australia, it was just the Aborigines. They hadn't got any monks. So that's probably why you don't see monks in Australia because they simply weren't there.
Mm, exactly. Exactly. 31 is ancient. You're not bloody ancient at 31. As I said, you're still a baby, Seago.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to talk about. I thought we would have gone on a bit longer about that.
yeah, it's a
Um,
ghost with a hat.
Goes with
how do you elaborate on that?
Not the same, but many.
See, I don't.
I was
I can't say I've ever personally experienced, well, what I'd say is classic sleep paralysis. That thing I told you about the other week when I said Jesus apparently and all them funny words. That had characteristics of a sleep paralysis where at the end I actually struggled to move, but I could move. It was just moving really slow. But
Yeah,
I can't say I've ever actually experienced sleep paralysis, so it ain't really something I can talk
it's
about as such.
it's freaky. You
Yeah,
could have,
I think it's one of them things you've got to experience before you can actually really talk about it.
yeah. It's I think the last time I had it was before I moved here when I was still in Canberra, and I remember waking up one night and I was trying to yell out and I couldn't get anything out of my mouth. I couldn't move even my fingertips. I was laying there and I was trying to concentrate on moving my hands and I couldn't. I was completely paralyzed. And
Hmm.
then you start panicking and hyperventilating. It's really scary, yeah. Mm,
Have you
not
ever
fun at all.
experienced it, Sam?
What, sleep paralysis?
Sleep paralysis?
Yeah.
No.
No, I don't think I haven't. But some people seem really prone to it.
Mm,
You get some people who experience it like nightly, and then others like me and Sam never really experience it at all.
yeah, it's a really,
It's an interesting phenomena. Whether it's paranormal or not, I don't know, but it is interesting, and it is interesting that it does have certain paranormal aspects connected to it, like with the shadowy figures and dark things crawling on people. But to me,
definitely.
it sounds more like incubus succubus territory than anything else. A lot of the cases, and it's interesting that a lot of people actually, even women, have described it as another woman, as a female type figure on top of them. It does either seem to be the female like crawls on him, but the male stands at the bottom of the bed in his hat.
The question that I would ask is incubus and succubus real, or is it just a load of bullshit too?
Hmm. See, if there is a scientific explanation for sleep paralysis, it's not something that's only just started occurring. It's obviously been around since time immemorial. So that could explain how succubus and incubus came into being. Were people just actually mistaking something with a scientific explanation as a paranormal experience? Because in them times, obviously, they didn't have the science we have today.
Yeah.
It's an interesting thing, that's for sure.
Seagull says he's experienced it between 5 and 10 times, but never had any paranormal stuff connected to it.
Yeah, like me. Yeah, I'd never experienced anything
Yeah,
paranormal with it.
yeah. But you have got to be careful with these things when when the paranormal community gets hold of them, like they did with Slender Man, like they did with Owl Man, like they did with Dibber boxes. Once the paranormal community get hold of it, they blow it up into far bigger proportion than what it actually really is. 99% of the time.
They do have a habit of shooting themselves in the foot.
Yeah.
They destroy their own community rather than thinking about the community as a whole. They want to get attention for themselves,
Hmm.
and they do things to damage the community to get credibility for themselves. And now we're at a situation where I don't believe most of the stuff I see on YouTube at all.
Hmm.
Yeah.
You
You're
know,
not
You know,
boring me, I'm just yawning.
you know, it's amazing how fast things can change. Take Wicca as an example. Now, people think that Wicca is hundreds of years old. They believe that it's a religion that predates Christianity. Wicca was actually formed in the 1930s. You know, it's a very, very modern religion, admittedly based on a belief system that does predate Christianity. But Wicca itself is a very, very, very modern. It's not. I wouldn't even say it's a religion. It's more a belief system. Though I suppose you could. It is technically a religion. But if you look at how it was originally conducted back in the 30s, to how it's conducted nowadays, the change in in the space of what is it, 6-7 decades, it
Yep.
is unbelievable. So we do have to be very, very careful on relying on history, particularly in the paranormal, because it can change so quickly.
Yeah, actually, this is when I get some more information together. I'm actually going to do a one of these topics on the devil, the demons that have changed throughout time, because I've been researching that recently. And it's interesting that even the visual appearance of what people classify as a devil or a demon over the years has changed greatly.
Mm-hmm.
In one point in time, it was a horned beast. And then, a century or so later, it was a man that was just a mischievous kind of man that wore a kind of jester outfit. And
Mm-hmm.
it's really changed over the years.
See, the devil originally was based on the horn god, the
Mm-hmm.
pagan horn god, the god of the woods, basically.
Yep,
And the reason they did that was because they needed to vilify paganism.
yep,
So we could have ended up, if Jesus had been born a woman or whatever, or Christianity could have plumped for anything for the devil. We could have ended up with a female devil. It just so happened that Christianity picked Pan, for want of a better term, or Serenus, or whatever you want to call him. And he was your typical horns, bottom half goat, cloven feet. But Pan himself was never an evil god and has never been an evil god. He's actually a god of the woods and he's a god of the hunt. And he was actually known as a protector of the forest. He kept
yep.
all forest life alive and going. So Pan himself was never an evil god, but because the Christians adopted him, that's where we get the image that the devil is cloven hooved, part goat with horns. It was basically just done by early Christianity as one of the ways to vilify paganism.
This is a touchy topic,
Mm-hmm.
but do you think that's why there are more Christians coming out of the woodwork now and claiming that us as paranormal investigators are talking to demons and not, in fact, spirits? Do you think it's trying to turn people away from the paranormal and back into Christianity because they are starting to see the truth?
I don't think it's just the fact that they're starting to see the truth. I think it's the fact that there is no doubt the popularity in organised religion is dropping off. As technology advances, religion is losing ground. And they are seeing things like New Ageism and stuff like that, the resurgence of belief in the old religion, and the church see it as a threat. So basically, what they're doing is they are trying to vilify it as much as possible to try and claw back members, sort of thing.
Uh-huh.
It's
Yeah.
basically just one effort by a large club to get members back, if you put it in the simplest terms.
Yeah. When you think about the paranormal in the UK and the paranormal in Ireland, it's two completely different things.
Yeah.
In fact, in the UK, with all the history and stuff like that, there's loads of people that are ghost hunting and having channels and stuff. There is people in Ireland, but not as many. And the reason why that it's extremely steeped in Catholicism.
Yeah. Yeah.
Every second house had a holy picture or a Mary statue or whatever. And yes, we're in the modern age where the next generation are questioning their own beliefs and stuff. Mm-hmm. But you've got that history there, and it just the yes, Ireland is full of paranormal stuff. Paranormal and ghost stories and tales of fairies and all sorts of things. But there's a difference in telling them and being a paranormal investigator. So it's not as big as it is in the UK, sort of thing. But it's sort of building up now, kind of.
See, Ireland, Sam, is a really interesting case because Ireland proves that the Christian Church was actually responsible for a lot of paranormal stuff.
Oh yeah, you just have
because
look.
Up until Christianity actually was brought to Ireland, there are no actual stories of ghosts in Ireland pre-Christianity. Everything in Ireland before then was linked to the fae, was linked, was linked to fairies and that type of thing. The Irish didn't actually believe in ghosts until Christianity was brought to Ireland. All their paranormal myths and history pre-Christianity are totally based on the fae, not on ghosts. So, proving that Christianity actually brought that branch of the paranormal to Ireland.
Yeah, I mean, like I actually seen a stream during the week where this guy went to Knock in County Mayo, and that's where Holy Mary appeared on the gable of a church, supposedly, and that is now, which way back then was a small church at the side of a field. It was a rural area. Now it is a town full of souvenir shops of holy medals and holy stuff. And a big, massive basilica was built for the Pope in 1979. And it's a big, massive... It's like Lourdes.
Yeah.
It's similar to Lourdes and that.
Yeah.
But... yeah, and then there was other sightings. There was a sighting in Galway in the middle of a field. I dragged along to that when I was a kid, praying around a little square in the middle of a flipping field. And I mean, this was in the backside of nowhere with narrow roads and just thousands of cars parked up along the side. You had to walk for miles from your car to this field, and there was 4 stakes in the ground with a bit of tape around it, like a crime scene, and you got a chance to go up near it and pray and touch the grass and all that kind of stuff. So people, they're very, very much, they were very, very much embedded in Catholicism back then.
See, I always find it interesting, Sam, when you get these reports of visitations. Why do they always crop up in areas where Catholicism is really strong anyway? Surely if they want to, they want to spread the message, Mary would be popping up in places where Catholicism either isn't practiced much or isn't practiced at all. Could it be that people are so ingrained in the belief system that it's people themselves generating these visions and not actual, holy visitations? Because Virgin Mary popping up in Ireland or popping up in Lourdes is pretty much like preaching to the converted, isn't it?
Yeah.
It seems a very pointless exercise.
Makes you question why she chose that place.
Exactly.
Like, if it was her,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Surely she should be popping up in like the middle of Africa or to the Aborigines or whatever, who've got a totally different belief system.
Yeah.
To spread the word, sort of thing.
Yeah, that's what brings up a debate itself. Is the paranormal actually science or spirituality? And that's why sometimes you have to tread carefully about what you say, because then you could be trampling on somebody's belief. Even if you have a scientific, you've scientific proof in front of you that certain things cannot happen, you may see it and then, trample on somebody's beliefs or whatever. I got caught out a couple of times before. And the reason why I had to apologise is because, my thoughts on a certain subject was trampling on a spiritual belief. So that's where you have to be sort of careful.
Jackie, I had to look at that twice. I'm loving your spelling of phenomena. I haven't actually been to Stonehenge. I have actually been to other stone circles. There is actually quite, believe it or not, there's quite a few of them here in Yorkshire. A lot of them are actually built on ley lines, which people, consider to be some sort of huge natural energy grid. I can honestly say the circles I've been to, they do have a very strange atmosphere. Not strange in the sense of being weird, but they tend to be a lot more calm and settled and stable, if that's the best word to describe it.
Maybe a vibration.
Yeah, compared to the surrounding area. They definitely have a distinct feel to them. And another place I've been where that's the same is Glastonbury Tor, which is another famous, Stone Age monument, and that is exactly the same. There's a very calming, stable atmosphere around Glastonbury Tor.
We have stone circles not far from here, actually, in a village called Ruffo.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why I haven't been there in a couple of years, I did film them way back a couple of years ago, but the reason why I haven't gone to them recently is, one, it's on top of a mountain, and I don't like hills, and two, it's very often very, very windy in these locations.
Mm-hmm. See, what a lot of people don't realise with these monuments is the vast majority of them aren't actually circles. Most of them are just standing stones. They can be like either a single or a small cluster of stones. So because of Stonehenge, most people always presume that these areas are actually stone circles, but 9 times out of 10 they are basically either a single stone or just a small group of upright stones. But they do have a very distinct atmosphere to them, and a lot of the time, well, the vast majority of the time, they are found to be sitting directly on top of a ley line.
So, a lot of your stone circles that are made up of smaller stones, they're not large like Stonehenge.
Mm-hmm.
Are they similar to the Aboriginal stone circles in Australia?
They're not normally circles, Julie. They could just be a single solitary upright stone. The vast majority of them aren't even circles.
Okay.
Stonehenge is famous because of the fact it's a big circle.
Yeah.
And how old it is. But 9 times out of 10, the majority of the monolithic sites over here are actually just either solitary standing stones or a small group of stones not set in a circle, just clustered.
Okay. I learned just something new then.
Yeah, it's fascinating that some of these stones. I mean, like even the stone circle that I just mentioned. Some of these stones are 8 or 10 feet high.
Mm-hmm.
Where did the stone come from, and how did they get them up? In the positions that they did.
Yeah, well, they know that some of the stones at Stonehenge were actually quarried in Wales. Now, Stonehenge is in Wiltshire, which is down south. They were transported hundreds of miles, and some of these stones are 40 tons in weight. Now, you imagine this is people that have got no lorries, that got no
Yeah.
wheels. They've got no wheels. They were using no wheeled vehicles at the time. For them to put that sort of effort to transport stones, them sorts of distances, and the actual effort that was involved in doing it, they've got to have known something we've forgotten. They've got to, there's got to have been some mega reason for doing it.
Mm.
Yeah,
Are all,
especially
sorry.
this the circle that I'm talking about is actually on top of a mountain.
Hmm.
So how do they get these stones on top of the
Yeah.
mountain? Unless they got the stones somewhere on the mountain, but I
Hmm.
don't know. You know.
Carved them up there because they were in the, massive stones that were partway in the ground or something. It's just crazy.
That would be my ideal experience, Ego. And I've said I do want to go down to Stonehenge before I shuttle off my mortal coil. That
Oh,
is,
that'd be
that is on my bucket list. I've been and seen the pyramids, and I've been and seen other things I wanted to see, the Everglades and stuff like that. And Stonehenge is pretty much the final big one on my list. So I do want to go. And I've been down to Wiltshire loads of times. I used to go down to Windsor Dog Show every year. And I was only about 20, 30 miles away from Stonehenge. And every year I went down, I'd say, this year, while I'm there, I'm going to go and pop and see Stonehenge, and never did. So, but I definitely want to get down there and see it.
definitely.
As to creating a stone circle in your own garden, yeah, it's quite possible to create a stone circle in your own garden, and a lot of people do, for especially people who have got druidic beliefs. As to whether you'll generate the same sort of atmosphere or power, who can say? Because, like I say, a lot of these stone circles are built in the places they're built for a reason, and that is because they're literally right on top of a ley line. Now
Mm.
there is a one ley line that literally runs up the length of the country, and it's Stonehenge actually sits on it. But if you follow that ley line completely up the east coast of England and into Scotland, there's something like 30 odd separate monoliths sit on that line. Literally sit on that straight line, and that is why they are put where they're put. So yeah, you could build a stone circle in your garden and use it like a druid used it as a temple, but I don't think you'd probably get the same sort of effect you'd get unless you're lucky enough that your garden sits directly on a ley line.
Typing. Zigo said, I had a pretty amazing solstice experience there one year. Bought
Yeah,
an acoustic
yeah,
guitar, sat in a circle, played for hours. Strangers would join in.
that would have been my ideal situation to be there
You,
doing that.
you can envision it, can't you?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you really can. I've got a very big bucket list, and I've resigned myself that I won't get to do everything. I won't get to see all the places, but
Hmm.
when I am a little older, I'll travel around,
Hmm.
my own country and tick a few off.
The Eds on Easter Island are quite an interesting one because I believe the majority of them all face the same direction. What is also interesting about the Eds is that a lot of them have actually got bodies, but
Yeah, they're
they're
just buried.
they're buried up to the necks, and
Yep.
that has obviously been done deliberately because they're all that way. But because of where they are, and it's a totally different culture. I have no idea why they were done like that. I know one theory is they were put there as the people believe they were guardians, and that is why they face out to sea and stuff, is to ward off evil spirits and stuff. But they're very, very interesting because the Eds on Easter Island aren't just Eds; they are literally full blown. statues. They've just been buried up to the necks.
So much information is lost, over the years,
Yeah.
and there are so many things unanswered.
See, this is why I always say that, to me, this is one of the strongest arguments that we are being visited by civilizations who are far more advanced than we are. Because if you look through the entire human history, we have had civilizations that have rose up above everything else around them. They have used technology that, for example, they found I can't remember whether it was I think it was Mayan or it could have been Incan, and it was a little pot, and they have discovered it's actually a battery.
Yeah.
It's an electrical battery, and then that technology was lost for thousands of years and has been rediscovered again.
Yeah, it was basically it's two metals. The two metals react
Yeah,
in an acid, and what acid they possibly used would have been some sort of fruit juice or
yeah,
whatever.
yeah, that's right.
You
But
can actually make it at home yourself.
yeah, if you find these civilizations rise up, but then when they collapse, all this history disappears. Now, for any kind of civilization, if they are that big and that dominant, they are going to leave, like the Egyptians and everything did. They are going to leave markers of them being there. And their knowledge has got to be somewhere, but all this knowledge just seems to disappear. And I am convinced that it has been because we are part of this. I'm putting my tinfoil hat on now. You're going to think I'm totally wacky, but I honestly believe that we are some giant science project, and we have been throughout history helped and guided along the way. And then they visited. They've given these civilizations all this technology to do whatever they need to do, like building the pyramids. Incas built them. The Egyptians built them. Then, as soon as that particular phase is over and these people have left, they took everything with them. And that is why the knowledge disappears again. There's no record of it.
I wonder if that was done deliberately.
Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah.
I don't believe that these people got the knowledge themselves. I believe it was given to them and then taken away from them.
Yeah.
And that is why, we don't know, why there are so many things being found now. Because another thing they found recently, and I believe it might have been in somewhere in the Mediterranean Sea, they actually dug up a huge, really sophisticated clockwork device, and there is hundreds of cogs embedded in this thing, and this thing is actually embedded into rock. So that's how long back it is. So they've dated it as thousands of years old, but it's a fully working brass clockwork mechanism, and it's actually a calendar. It's a mechanical calendar, and it's thousands of years old.
Yeah.
Thousands.
Actually, my dad sent me a video that someone had sent him a little while ago, and there is this ancient piece of technology. It's a figure of a little man, and he's sitting there, and he's got like a quill in his hand, and he's mechanical,
Yeah.
and he can write, and he's got all these mechanics in his back and everything else, and it
Hmm.
was made way before the technology should have been there or anything
Yeah.
else. So I can't remember the specifics, but that was mind blowing.
Yeah.
I'll
Well,
have to forward it to you.
I know there is. Recently, there's been bandied about a lot. There was recently an axe found embedded in a piece of rock, and that is dated at over 100,000 years old, way before humans even started. We were still extremely primitive as a species at that point. But they have
Yeah.
actually, and it's a proper wooden shafted axe with a metal head, and it was found actually embedded in rock.
Jeez.
Yeah, I believe we've lost hundreds of hundreds and thousands of pieces of technology and knowledge over the years. Well, you know, one of the seven wonders of the world that's never actually been discovered is the Library of Alexandria. Now, it's known that it existed, and it is claimed that all the knowledge of the Egyptians and everything was contained in the Library of Alexandria. But that library itself has never been discovered. So
Did
where is it?
did one of your dogs just walk in out that doorway?
Mine.
Yeah.
No, they're both on the sofa behind me.
Did you see that, Sam? Did anybody else see that?
See what?
I thought one of your dogs just walks from the kitchen doorway or whatever it is into your lounge room, but then they were on the sofa.
No, they're both here. They're both fast asleep. Kaya's this side of me and Coco's that side.
I swear. Okay, I have to check that.
Mm-hmm. It'll be interesting if you do. Sam, you're muted.
Yeah, you're muted, Sam. Sorry.
Sorry, I was focusing on this chair. I was putting a cushion on it and stuff, so I missed it.
Tell the truth. You muted to lift your cheek up and do one of your famouses and then turn the sound back on again.
No, this is definitely one of the most uncomfortable chairs on earth. It's like a torture device.
Do you know what it
Dunno.
was?
I was lifting the cheek to drop one, so I just muted it so nobody could hear.
It was your hand going like that, Brett.
What
But
that?
it was all, a kind of across, but it was all blurry, and I thought something had walked through the doorway. It was your hand.
Yeah, thanks for telling me there's things walking around behind me in the
I'm
house.
sorry. I get excited when I think that there's things there, but we have to check.
True.
Aren't there depictions of flying objects in the Egyptian hieroglyphs? Excuse me. Yes.
The helicopters.
Yeah, there is actually a group of hieroglyphs in a. I ain't sure whether it's. I don't think it's in Tutankhamun's place, but there is actually a lintel in one of the tombs, and it shows an helicopter. It shows what can only be described as a modern day fighter jet, and also something that looks like an helicopter. All on the same group of what's it. But there is also in the Bible itself an alien abduction story where the guy actually claims he was taken off planet, flew around the galaxy and brought back, and that is actually in the Old Testament itself.
Did Leonardo da Vinci or somebody like that make paintings with alien spacecraft in them?
Yeah.
Biblical paintings.
Well, that's got to tell you something, right? Like if they're seeing them all the way back then, and then there's these, you know, conspiracies that they could have helped.
If you go online, Julie, and you Google strange objects in medieval paintings, you will be surprised how many of them have actually got literal flying machines painted in the pictures with people, either of UFOs or actual machines with people sitting in them flying through the air.
Jeez.
Yeah, that's true.
Serious question, Brett.
Mm-hmm.
Jazz wants to know, did you finish all of your snacks?
No, I've still got some here. Jace has munched his way through the chomps because I don't like them. I did do something yesterday and I nearly puked. You know them squidgy sweets you sent me in the cocaine bag.
Oh yes.
Well, I've been happily munching through the strawberry ones of theirs. Popped one in my mouth and didn't realise it weren't a strawberry one. It was a milk one, and it was the most disgusting thing I have ever.
Okay, so Milkos are a no-go. Did you try the orange ones?
Yes, I like the orange ones, but
They're
those,
sherbet.
yeah, those what's it ones. I have to seriously check them. I'm gonna have my strawberry one actually, but I have to seriously check the red ones now to make sure it ain't one of them horrible Milko ones.
Yeah, the red ones, they used to be called Redskins, but they changed the name to
Red Ripper,
Red
they're
Rippers.
lovely. They're lovely.
Yeah, they are good.
But I pop one in my mouth. I think there's only one in here of a Milko, thankfully. But it was nasty.
Give it to Jace.
Oh no, I found another one. There's a couple in here. I'll give them to Jace.
Yeah, give them to Jace.
Jace eats anything.
Jazz says, Coke bag has me laughing.
Well, that's what it is, Jazz. She sent me. I thought she sent me a bag of Coke when I opened the box.
Over here, we use them for our kids' school lunches. Put your sandwiches in them. Oh dear. Ezekiel's wheel. What's Ezekiel's wheel?
I think that's the name of that mechanical thing with all the cogs in it.
Oh, okay.
No, sorry. Ezekiel's wheel is the UFO abduction, the alien abduction in the Bible.
Oh, okay.
And he actually claims he was taken into a craft. He shot across the desert or wherever it was at fantastically high speeds, and then they left the planet, and he was taken on a trip around the galaxy and then brought back. And that is actually in the Bible. Yeah, Book of Enoch.
You don't have to donate, Daniel. Thank you for doing that. You don't have to. You can just ask questions and we'll pop them up for you. But thank you. Daniel says, can you please cite the biblical reference for intergalactic travel? I'm not up on my Bible.
Let me check it. I think it is the Book of Enoch. I ain't a big Bible. What's it? But
They've removed it from the Bible, Tara said. Yeah, Tara said it's the Book of Enoch.
yeah, but it was in the Bible at one point, and it's an extremely interesting set of passages to read, because what he literally explains is being abducted and taken on a trip around the solar system.
Wow.
And he even actually states that they went across the ground at fantastic speeds and then ascended to the heavens. And
Elon Musk wasn't around at that time. The cost you millions.
Elon might have time travelled.
Yeah.
Enoch is not in the Old Testament. I have to admit, like my dad is Catholic, and
yeah, mine is as well.
Yeah, and well, he was Irish, of course, or of origin. My mother was Church of England, so us children were baptised Church of England.
You were exactly the same as us.
Yeah, but I was never raised through the churches or that. We went to scripture in primary school and did all that. So in my 20s, I started reading the Bible, but I didn't get all the way through it. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, people are arguing now whether it's still in the Bible or not.
Yeah, I was brought up, you know, in a strict, you know, Catholic way, but I wasn't listening very much, so I'm not much help.
From a very young age, you had a mind of your own, Sam, and you know, we cherish that.
You know, I don't bring the Bible into the paranormal at all, because if you look at the science field, I've got no background in science, and that, but I want to sort of go down that logical route, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And scientists themselves say that the Bible is not. It's not good to bring the Bible into scientific studies in any way, because it's not a scientific document as such.
Yeah. They simply do not gel together.
Yeah.
Because you've got a proof system clashing with a belief system, and they're never going to gel together ever.
Yeah, that's true.
So let me ask you, I've just Googled something. So Daniel said, how did Elijah get to heaven?
No idea. I ain't religious.
So in here, it says, as they were walking along and talking together, suddenly a chariot of fire and horses of fire appeared and separated the two of them, and Elijah went up to heaven in a whirlwind. Elisha saw this and cried out, my father, the chariots and horsemen of Israel. And Elisha saw him no more. I have no idea
Alien abduction?
why that's going up. But that's what I'm thinking. Maybe he's referring to before the Book of Enoch was taken out. Maybe it was aliens or something, and now it's changed.
Yeah, but when this stream's finished, Julie, Google strange objects in medieval paintings, and you look at how many of them actually contain not just Christian paintings, but paintings from around the world. It will show you, and there is a lot of them that actually depict people flying around in machines in the actual paintings.
And you said, was it Da Vinci?
I think so, yeah.
Da Vinci came up with some futuristic devices, because he wasn't just a painter. He was a very gifted designer.
Yeah, and he was the one that made the kite and things, wasn't he?
And the spring-powered helicopter. He technically invented the helicopter.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, it's like, was it Moses who went up on the mountain to get the 10 Commandments?
Yes.
Yes.
And spoke to a burning bush?
Yep.
Yeah.
Who's to say that wasn't something technologically advanced?
Well, apparently the burning bush was a certain plant. I can't remember what it was. And it was a little hallucinogenic.
So you're now claiming the entire 10 Commandments are based on somebody who has a kite, so.
Well,
And what is Julie laughing at?
I actually look at some of Aaron Raw's Answers in Genesis documentaries and stuff like that. He's an atheist and that, and he debunks the Bible. But apparently, the burning bush was a certain. I can't remember what the name of the bush was, but apparently it was hallucinogenic.
I'm sorry.
What's funny about burning bush, Julie? Is it like a dose of thrush you're laughing at? Is that what's going through your mind?
It's just my mind.
Burning bush, also known as thrush.
Just like every now and again, I just get in one of those moods.
Just says, burning bush happens to look like a tomato bush. So basically, Moses got his commandments from a talking tomato plant.
Yeah, possibly high as a kite.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, I was told there was, the stories in the Bible were metaphors for things. That's what was going through my mind, and then you start saying burning bush, and I lost it.
Well, that is basically what he spoke to. Was it
Yeah,
Mount
it was a burning
Sinai?
bush.
The burning bush on Mount Sinai?
Yep, you got it right.
The very same burning bush that inspires Snoop Dogg, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Balaam tied his ass to a tree and walked a mile. I don't know if I pronounced that properly.
Balaam.
Yeah,
I have no idea who Balaam is.
I have no idea.
I presume he walked a mile with the tree tied to him.
Yeah,
Why?
I have no idea.
They were stuck for recreation and things back then.
He was walking through the desert. There wasn't much shade.
Yeah, he was just bored.
Jackie says the police found his crop and set it on fire. It explains why he was up there so long. He wanted to smoke it all and didn't want to share it.
Everyone's down the bottom. There's just this big cloud of smoke coming out of the cave.
Yeah, I think I heard it on the Non Sequitur show actually. You know.
That's classic.
But it would be interesting because I don't know what's in the Quran and everything, but it would be interesting to read through all these religious books and see if there's anything in there that could actually be tied to things like alien abduction and paranormal. Because if you think about it, the Old Testament is basically a book full of the paranormal. It should have been called the very first paranormal volume.
Yeah, if you look into Genesis, the flood and that.
Mm-hmm.
That story of the flood, the same story in a different religion, thousands of years before that,
Mm-hmm.
there was a similar story.
Yeah.
Well,
they have actually proven that there was a great flood in Egypt at the time when it's talked about in the Old Testament, but not to the extent that the entire planet was covered in water. But it's claimed that it was done to get rid of the Nephilim.
Yes.
They are part angel, part human race.
That I don't know.
Yeah, that I don't know either.
Yeah, apparently I'm sure I read somewhere one of the reasons God sent it was to get rid of the Nephilim, who were like the offspring of angels with humans.
Well, if you ask a creationist, they will say that happened 6,000 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I've got a bit of a question for you. I cannot remember what the machine is, but the machine they were turning on yesterday, the one that creates
The
dark
collider.
matter or dark light. Yeah.
The Hadron Collider.
Yeah.
Yep. So I have heard in the last 24 hours, or probably less, there have been new Mandela effects that people are claiming have happened. What do you think about that?
I think it's bullshit.
I've heard so much bullshit from actual paranormal investigators in the last couple of days. In the line of dark holes and dark matter, and they're saying, "Oh, dark matter." One of them on a live stream says that, "Oh, that means that we could be, we could be interfering with demons."
It's a black hole world ender.
It took me 5 minutes to figure out actually what dark matter was. Some of these people just they jump to the conclusion and they go for it.
What it is, Sam, they never went past the word dark. That is what it was. They saw the word dark and never went any further.
And even a UK TV personality in the paranormal was scaremongering on Facebook. And I actually shared his post on my page, and I says, "This is the shit we have to listen to." You know, it took me 5 minutes to figure out what
So
dark.
did they activate the collider again recently then?
It had been going for the last week, but recently they turned it up full blast, apparently.
Oh, right.
And I'm not quite sure. I think it's supposed to be going at full blast for 4 years, but don't cut me on that one.
Well, I've got to be honest, I ain't noticed anything different.
No, I hadn't either. And people have to understand, and they probably never will, and we say this all the bloody time, there needs to be a balance in the world. There is light with dark and dark with light. It's
Well,
like
that is exactly why there is dark matter.
Yeah.
It's the exact opposite to our matter. It's the balancing. What's it?
The explanation that I got, and it was from something Tyson. I can't remember what his name was. Dark matter does not emit its own light, does not reflect its own light, and it's invisible.
Yeah, well,
that's it.
I saw the thing on it a few years ago, Sam, and apparently they've estimated it's everywhere. You know, if you go into outer space, it's just dotted everywhere, all over. You know.
Yeah, it's got nothing to do with. It's got nothing to do with demons.
Yeah.
No.
And the black hole is not the devil's butthole.
No.
Definitely not.
It's his definitely not. It's his burning bush.
Yeah, it might be.
But you know what really annoys me is where people in the paranormal science community jump on these negative things and run with it back.
Yeah.
When they don't even do any research to the science aspect of things.
Yeah.
Do you know? And they were scaremongering during the week. Oh, the world could change if we carry on with this experiment. We could be looking into dark forces and all this crap. Well, that's jumping to conclusions without any scientific fact, which is stupid.
If people do their research, there's a lot more things we should be more frightened about than demons popping out of dark matter, because personally I'm more concerned about Yellowstone at the moment than I am about a demon popping out of a piece of dark matter.
Yeah.
You know, I'd rather stick with the problems we know about rather than inventing ones that ain't there.
Absolutely.
And that will be the desert's butthole when that finally erupts, Yellowstone.
That is going to be massive in terms of not only affecting Yellowstone and America.
It's an ELE. It's an extinction level event when Yellowstone finally goes.
It is. I looked into it, like I did research into it myself as well, and just the ash that's going to come up into the atmosphere is going to be huge. It's going to be worldwide.
This is how stupid Facebook science is. Somebody asked, why don't they get all the cement trucks in the world and fill in all these volcanoes? With cement.
They do realise what a volcano's function is, don't they?
Yeah, it's a build-up of flipping pressure.
It's basically a pressure valve. It's a natural pressure valve. If they fill them up, it's just going to create new ones elsewhere.
Oh yeah, Facebook science is a weird and wonderful place.
Daniel says, I like asteroids more than Yellowstone.
That's actually some really good advice, Seago.
Yeah, you can get cream for it. Hence why Julie was giggling earlier.
We are due for an extinction event. We are
Mhm.
due for a catastrophic
Well,
event.
there have been 5 previous ones, and we are actually overdue the 6th.
Yep, we are. And we're not treating the planet very well.
Mm-hmm.
Let's put it that way. Especially with everything that's been going on in the world, this year and last year. And
Seago, the last thing you'd want to be doing is dropping giant ice cubes into a volcano, believe me.
Yeah, the only thing is when you go down the Christian route, the Christians are saying, it's the coming of Jesus. Jesus is coming back. And as far as I remember, the last time he was supposed to come back, he didn't show up.
Yeah, he's 22 years late.
Oh, apparently, right.
Mm-hmm. He was supposed to return after 2000.
Jesus, oh.
Yeah, he's 22 years late.
Oh.
Well, according to Genesis, they went after the flood. The next disaster is that instead of a flood, it's going to be fire.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
that's certainly got Yellowstone covered then.
It has, yeah. But apparently that goes back not in recent times. It goes back to actual Genesis.
Mm-hmm. What do you think about animal? Because they say before volcanoes and earthquakes and stuff, a lot of animals do a runner. Do you think there's some way sensing it biologically, or that they have got an higher understanding paranormally and they get out the way before it's coming? Do you think it's actually them sensing something physically, or they've all got precognition?
I think it's atmospheric change, the tiny differences in atmospheric change that they can pick up on that we can't.
Yeah, it's like ducks flying south for the winter and stuff.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything paranormal to it. It's a natural process that they're just way more sensitive than us.
Mm-hmm.
See,
and I believe we once had exactly the same sort of senses. And through technology and the way we've developed, we've actually dumbed down a lot of our senses.
Oh, most likely.
And God forbid, Sam, if something happened that pushed us right back to the Stone Age, I think we'd start to see them things start resurfacing again. And I think a lot of things that we put down as paranormal would actually be explained through natural instinct rather than anything paranormal.
You see, the thing is, we focus on different things now. Do you know, like if somebody, say if somebody loses their sight, some other senses get that little bit more, a lot of the power.
Hearing particularly gets more sensitive.
Yeah, things like that. You go back to some of these tribes from way back, where they'll lie on the ground and listen to the ground and say they're coming from that way over there or wherever. Our focus is different, and I think actually the modern technology we have now. I was even asking my friend, what do they teach in schools when you can just Google it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you know? We've got to a stage now where you just, you ask a question to Alexa, you get an answer.
Yeah.
Do you know? Whether it's the right answer is another thing, but we got that information coming to us instantly. Is that making us more stupid? But at the same time, you look at Facebook science and you think, really, people are getting really stupid.
Mm-hmm.
I think it makes us more lazy too.
See, and I think this is where it ties into the Gaia theory, because if we look back again through the history, all these civilizations that have rose and fell, They have hit a peak in technology, and then something's happened to knock them right back down. And to me, that is like the planet self-regulating itself to make sure that us as a species does not push two things too far, planetary
Yeah.
wise. And I think we're getting close to the cusp now where we're going to hit that balance where our technology becomes too much of a danger to the planet, and the planet is going to react majorly.
Daniel has a point there. Pigeons can hear infrasound below 18 hertz. It's only possible for human ear to hear above 20.
Yeah.
And that possibly these animals are hearing also, along with sensing changes in atmosphere, hearing things before we do. Because if you think of tsunamis and all them kind of natural disasters, it just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Well,
if you think about it, even dogs and everything, when there's an earthquake about to happen, dogs start howling and barking and trying to get out the area. All the birds bugger off. All the wild animals start running together in the opposite direction. There's got to be something there picking up that we've lost. Got to be.
Yeah, we have a massive footbridge called the Peace Bridge here in Derry, and it's made up with sections, and obviously they're not. There has to be a gap or expansion and stuff like that, and there has to be a gap or movement and stuff like that. And there was times there where I didn't feel the movement, and my dog did. My dog absolutely won't walk across that bridge. It's absolutely.
My vet says they can hear the wind blowing across the Rocky Mountains. Oh, Julian, her bloody wood fire. Do you think this is what... Because when I was a kid, Sam, I used to babysit for somebody and their dog used to stare at the wall and make howling noises. And then I found out years later that my friend had actually seen the spirit of a girl on the stairs. Do you think that there may be things out there trying to communicate with us on a frequency that we can't hear, but animals can? Because there is no end of stories of people's dogs and cats either sitting there listening to something that their owner can't see or following it with their eyes.
Yeah, I remember my dog staring into the corner of the kitchen one day, and I'm thinking, what the hell is she staring at? Like,
yeah, I used to get it a lot in the old days for Kaya. Kaya used to sit at the foot of my, and I mean literally on a daily basis. She would sit at the bottom of my stairs, and she would look up the stairs, and she'd just stare there for ages, and then all of a sudden she'd stand up and start wagging a tail, like somebody was talking to her or doing something. And I often wondered, and in the old house, that was where we used to get the majority of the things occurring, was on the stairs and the landing at the top of the stairs. And I often wondered, is Kaya seeing something up there that we're not seeing the majority of the time?
Yeah, you do see sometimes ghost hunters, and I think it was Most Haunted that started off this thing where they brought the dog to the location and stuff. The thing is, when they start acting weird and that, what indicates that they're picking up something paranormal except just a guess? Unless you had rigged up the dog with, medical equipment that medical people would understand, and the activity of the brain and all this kind of stuff. Bringing a dog into a place only adds to the questions, basically. And then you think, you go to a place, lots of places do have mice and animals and stuff like that, and it just gets too complicated,
See, Shebas have very distinct behavioural patterns. When they're hunting something, they literally go rigid. and they stand there and they don't move a muscle. They just fixate, which was what she used to do at the bottom of the stairs. But her eyes had been moving. But it was when the tail started wagging. Now, Shebas only do that when they're pleased about something. You know, they don't do it when they're hunting. If they see a rat, they don't start wagging the tail or anything. They literally just go for it, sort of thing. But Kaya used to be, and she used to do it pretty much on a daily basis. Well, it used to be on a night more so than in the day. But she would sit at the bottom of the stairs. She'd be looking up at the stairs, and then all of a sudden, she'd go all excited, and the tail would start going like somebody was about to fuss up.
It brings us down the road what we were talking about last week. We'd need to bring that pet psychic with us.
Oh God, no!
Oh,
that was ridiculous last week.
That was
absolutely ridiculous.
Oh, people lap that shit up though.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
I'm getting a message from your dog, Brett.
Good night, Fairy.
Kaya's telling me she'd like a treat.
That it wouldn't be unusual for Kaya.
And the dog will accept it.
Mm-hmm.
Because it told us.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm seeing that. Oh dear.
Yeah. Well, you know, you can write a few books and get on the telly.
Do you think it's getting to the point lately where people are reading more into things than they should be?
Oh, big time.
You know, that some people are so desperate for proof or whatever that they will believe literally anything.
Well, you think of, you know, ITC and the certain couple of people that think they can contact people's dead, loved ones and stuff like that. Some of those people are really, 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 you know, they would just love to hear the voice of they're in pain. They're grieving and stuff like that. And to fill them full of shite, I think it's really immoral, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But some of these people, no matter how ridiculous it gets, do you know, I followed some of these people and then I started picking holes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, years down the line I started picking holes and I said, well, hold on a wee second and that. You know, you're not actually proving anything. You're saying it's proven, but it's not. And all that kind of thing. But some people just don't advance from that. They turn into super fans and no matter what they say, they'll stick by it and they'll go against the person that stands up to the truth.
Mm-hmm.
You know? You know, and I've been attacked before because I've attacked one or two of these people. One person in particular. And I do get... you know, I do get some of his fans being very, very angry with me. And to me, it's an opportunity to have a conversation. And very often we have had long conversations. You know, it starts off, oh, you're just a jealous hater and that. And then I just explain why I'm not jealous and why I'm not a hater. And then the reason why I'm calling their Almighty out, you know, and very often their excuse is he's a holy man. He talks about God. I says I can pull out the God card too, and come across as Almighty. I can, you know, in a normal circumstances, I could claim that I'm talking to John the Baptist every morning, and people will believe me.
Yeah,
but you know. And to come every so often throw out a little bit of evidence which he calls truth, which doesn't line up what he's telling us. You know, I don't know. Very, very often people, I think they're so embedded in the possibility of what they are focusing on, which is talking to their dead pet, talking to their Uncle Frank, or talking to Auntie Mary. That is their focus. and they'll go anywhere to do it. And I've had messages myself. People want me to talk to Michael Jackson and talk to their mother and stuff like that, and explain to them. I says my belief is that this level of communication is a false reality created by such people as the person I'm not going to mention, but we all know.
Yeah, it's not like a human thing. You can't just pick up the phone and dial them.
But the false reality becomes more popular than the actual reality. The real reality, becomes boring in comparison to the sensationalized false reality, and people are flocking to the false reality because it's more exciting. There's more possibilities.
That's what I was just going to say. Do you think it's ever going to get to the point where people pull back from that and actually start being genuinely interested in the paranormal again, not the sensational side of it? Because I don't think we will. I think we're on a slippery slide downwards.
I can't see it. It's become a joke at this stage, and you can look, and you'll find it very, very hard to find some of the studies from the 70s and 80s and stuff. That was really interesting stuff. But what people have done is taken some of that and turned it into an entertainment, and very often the people that are really big into paranormal study and that, the last thing they want to do is start putting together files for a YouTube video. It actually does take up time. For what? If it's scientifically based and they have a small channel, they'll get 20, 30, 40, 50 views or 100 views. Is it even worth the time to do it? Do you know?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Do you know? I run now an observatory. The spirit box. Run the spirit box a half an hour each day and put it out and that, and 30 people listen to those videos. I don't even know if they listen to the whole thing. I'm not getting the feedback that possibly I would have got maybe in the 80s or 90s.
Mm-hmm.
Because, it's not sensationalized, and I don't hand the evidence to them on a plate.
Yeah.
If I hear something, very often I know where it is, but I'm not going to. There was a couple of times where I picked out things and I made a video on it, look what I heard or whatever. Mm-hmm. But in general, there is so much stuff there. I could spend the rest of my life researching the last month's, daily recordings and stuff like that. But people want everything handed to them on a plate. They want to sit back and watch it on the telly and be entertained and hear the demons and devil coming out and stuff like that. And it's not all that, and it gets very frustrating, Yeah.
They want to be jump scared every 5 minutes, and they want to see all the different gadgets going off and lighting up, and there's nothing wrong with gadgets, but you've got to know how to use them. Not those gadgets. You've got to know how to use them.
You've a dirty mind.
You've got a dirty mind, Julie.
When things go off, there is more than one bloody reason why something's going to go off, and just because it lights up or does something, it doesn't mean it's paranormal. And that's the thing. They're led to believe that this is what it is, instead of debunking and looking for other reasons why things are happening, and people are buying into this, and it's not realistic. And
the thing about the ghost hunting equipment, it often just adds to the confusion. It actually adds more questions and answers than anything else.
Yep.
We've advanced so much in the last 20 years in technology itself, but these devices, they were originally invented for something else. You know, even REM pods. REM pods was a kind of it was a musical instrument that you don't touch. You move your hands up and down and stuff.
So I'm laughing at I'm laughing at the conversation I'm having with Tara. Sorry.
You know.
Did you not hear what Sam said?
No.
About moving your hands up and down.
Yeah, the REM pod was actually a musical instrument. It was a device where you moved your hands up and down and you played the notes and stuff like that.
Oh,
That's what that. Yeah.
Is it?
I can't
Like that?
remember.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it's.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what that actually was. But when you think about it, you know, one of those going off can be any number of things, and to fully investigate, you have to investigate those sources, and very often we don't have the equipment to investigate that particular source.
Apparently, it's called a theremin.
Yeah.
Yeah. Theremin.
Theremin resonator. Yeah.
But a lot of people, like I heard someone talking, and this is a smaller channel, on another channel today, and they made a very good point. They said a lot of times people will go out with this equipment and say, well, it could be this or it could be this, trying to set it off. Okay, but if it is this, how does the device work? What exactly is setting the device off? How exactly is it testing that? You have to understand everything.
Yeah. See what you got to realise with a lot of paranormal equipment is it's actually used quite legitimately for other things. Like EMF meters were actually designed to help you find electrical wires in the wall before you drill holes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And they have been adopted by the paranormal community and put out there that now it's almost universally accepted that ghosts emit EMF, but there's absolutely no proof that that's the case.
No, it was.
This is what we've got to be careful of making something we want appear to be a reality to the point where it's accepted as reality.
Yeah, like I said before, you know, the scientists that were investigating Skinwalker Ranch, they got odd EMF readings, and what they done was they got a excavator in to dig a big massive hole to go down as far as they would get readings, and then what they done was they sent a balloon up to see how far up, so they could get a picture. But us with EMF meters, we only measure ground level. We don't know exactly where these sources come from half the time.
We've had a lot of discussions on this.
Oh no,
Greg's just like, no.
That's why I was doing
camera. This. What do you think of the SLS camera?
Basically, I wouldn't waste my money on one. I ain't saying they don't work, because if something's there, they will pick it up. But if, like I say, and I say this time and time again, if you research the actual technology of the camera itself and the software of the camera itself, 99.9% of what you get on an SLS camera is a false positive.
And if you move it even 1 millimeter, the camera has to calibrate. So these people walking around with SLS camera, they're not calibrating, they're calibrating all the time.
Mm-hmm.
There's these tiny lasers, and it measures the distance from the camera to the object, which makes it do a 3D image. Now, 3D imaging camera is great technology in that, but it has to be still. If it's not still, what happens is it's just continuously calibrating. So having an SLS camera and walking around with it, it doesn't work. It doesn't work properly. You know, if you are going to use it on an investigation, put it on a tripod and just leave it there. Leave it there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're
It's
going.
like when it's with the Xbox, it's sitting there, it's not moving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're going for a trip in Seago's ass pocket again. He's
Oh,
off to the shop.
nice. It's
He's
warm
taking
in
us
there.
with. He's taking us with him again. Yeah. The thing about the software of um, the SLS, it's actually based off Microsoft's APK, and it all has to go through Microsoft's APK. The software is actually programmed. It's physically coded to expect to see a figure, and if it doesn't find enough points to generate a figure, it will actually guess where these points should be and actually generate them itself. So if it gets, say, like 4 points, so it's found an head, an arm, and two legs, it will actually invent another arm if it can't find the other arm. And the same with when people reach out and claim that that whatever's sitting on by them on the sofa 9 times out of 10 has reached out and touched the finger. That is because the software cannot distinguish what point belongs to what figure. So when they are roughly in the same place for both figures, it will consider that point as a point for each figure, and that is why they will both suddenly reach and touch, because they're using 1 point for two figures.
Yeah. The camera is a great technology. 3D imaging is great and that. But as far as paranormal, it just needs a bit. It needs a bit more work.
Yeah.
It could be improved on.
Yeah. Yeah, Daniel said it maps my dinner tablecloth.
Yeah.
I actually, it'll map like shapes that it feels might be humanoid.
It will even map indentations or slight blemishes in walls and contrasts in boundaries, and this is why you'll see a lot of these figures end up dancing in doorways or even on cupboard doors, especially if they're glass cupboard doors.
Yeah.
You'll always see, and also why you get these really weird spidery type things is because the camera is actually just mapping a point. It doesn't know whether it's an head or what, and because it needs so many points. Once it picks up so many points, it goes, "Oh well, I'll give that an head, that an arm," and that is why you get these weird little spidery things that crawl across the floor.
Yeah, I'd rather go thermal, but the real good thermal is very expensive.
Yeah.
Not these guns where those guns are basically designed to indicate hot pipes and stuff like that. The proper flare technology, but you're talking.
I don't want to miss this. I've already divorced one. I don't want another one.
You're talking £1,000 upwards. I have a device. It's £350. It's good, but it's not perfect. But if you go any lower than that, you're talking about really crappy stuff. A lot of the
If you're going to start using thermal imaging in a paranormal sense, you're probably going to be looking closer to the £1,000 mark for a really good thermal system.
Yeah, it can be very useful, say if you go into a location and, people are reporting noises in the attic and stuff like that. If a mouse or a rat takes a poop, it's going to glow on the camera,
Yeah.
And the areas where they sleep, the temperature is going to be higher.
Yeah.
You're able to track roads and stuff like that, so you can debunk a lot of stuff. But proper thermal really is expensive,
Mm-hmm. And again, we don't know if these things are generating it. Until people actually, start using some serious equipment, we can't say one way or the other.
Yeah, well, thermal, is derived from the U.S. military and stuff.
Yeah.
But real thermal is digital thermal and digital night vision technology. It hasn't caught up to the tube technology that the military have used, like the Gen 3.
Do you know, I love how the Irish accent really struggles with T and H. Salmon, a turty, and a thermal. Andy used to get her to say 33 all the while because he absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
I
Thermal.
was I was telling my dad about you two the other day actually, and I was telling him about Sam's accent because you got the different accents depending on where you come
Yeah.
from.
Hmm.
So I was trying to sound like Sam when I was talking. I didn't do a good job.
Yeah.
You just need to say 4 words. Whale. Say it.
Me?
Wait, no,
Oil. Say oil.
oil.
Beef.
No, because you've done this to me before.
Say beef.
No.
And then when you string them all together, you speak in a perfect Irish accent.
Mm.
Good.
Obelisk device. Obelisk device was invented by a guy called Bill Chappell, and it was supposed to be triggered off by different EMF fields, but some people thought that that was not real. So I don't know how it's triggered off, but then when you think about it, it's in a way a random word generator. Now he did claim that they put a certain amount of words in the bank itself and it has created other words. So I don't know, but I sort of, to me, it's too manufactured and too much of a kind of a spin the bottle kind of thing.
And plus, it's too limiting as well.
Yeah.
It is limited to whatever's in them word banks. And the only problem with things like the Ovilus is what you've got to realise is when these people do actually create these apps and these devices, they heavily load the word banks with words that are more related to the paranormal. Like they're fill them full of words like demon and ghost and
Well,
shadow and that kind of thing.
that can be on the app, but the Ovilus is a physical device.
Yeah, but it still triggers a word bank, Sam.
Yeah, to me, there's too many of these devices in the paranormal that's like spin the bottle,
Yeah, yeah.
where you
See,
have to guess, kind of thing.
for me, if I was going to attempt to take a response seriously, it would have to be something that really, really corresponded with something I was saying. Like it would have to be, for instance, if you said, "What color shirt am I wearing?" and it said red, well, it could just be a coincidence that it just popped up at that random time, or was it something actually coming through and responding to you? So I think if it's just random words like "Who am I talking to?" Ghost. Well, that's not really telling me, is it? It's just a random word that's popping up.
To me, it's too random. You know, it's kind of.
Yeah.
We had this app. I don't know if you can get it in Australia or whatever. It was called Paratech. It was developed by a guy called Apidroid Development, and he's very good with his ghost boxes and stuff like that. And he does a lot of apps and that. But I could turn on the Paratech, and every word that came out of that, I could make a story out of it. You know, that kind of way. I could
Yes.
make it fit. And actually, there was once or twice where I did use it, and it actually is quite hilarious. Do you know where? And then you see, there's other people too that follow the words. You know, if a certain word comes up, they'll start going down the route of, well, if your name is John, do you know where I'm coming from? A word comes up, and then they go down that route. Say it said basket or something. Oh, he says, "Oh, what kind of basket was it?" And next thing, a colour comes out. It was a blue blue. Oh, so it was a blue basket. You can. Sometimes these words come out, and you start putting together a story in your head. So there's this spirit. He's got a blue basket, and he's from such a town, which came up on that thing, and you could develop a picture which could be completely and utterly just made up in your head because of you started putting all these words together. And a lot of people, you'd see that where they just start following the words.
Yeah, I've seen that quite often.
Yeah, you know. You can, if you turned on the Paratech for about an hour and took every word, you could develop a picture in your head from all of those words.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, it's just random words, though.
Yeah, what I was going to say just before Jace rung when Julie was talking, for me to believe something like that was actually doing something, is it would have to be more than one occurrence of relevant responses, and they would have to be sequential. Because just asking a question and getting something that sounds relevant is quite possible it could happen, even by the law of chance.
Yep.
But if you got, say, 5 or 6 questions in a row, and they'd have to be sequential. Mm-hmm. If you asked 5 or 6 different things in a row and you got 5 or 6 intelligent responses, then you'd have to start thinking, well, maybe there is something about this.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because I used to have the Paratech on my phone. I never used it once on an investigation, but I did use it a couple of times in the house. Just left it running to see what it would do. And I found that there was definitely a weight to the words, and certain words would be repeated a lot more than others. To the point where it got to the point where I could pretty much guarantee what words I'd be hearing on that Paratech. Not necessarily the order, but I'd know in a certain amount of time that certain words would come out that Paratech.
Yeah.
Quickly, Daniel has a question here about the SB7, but Kim also said, if you really, really like the ITC, go over to Sam's channel. Sam and Brett's links are pinned to the top of the chat there. Sam does an extraordinary amount of work with the ITC using a range of different spirit boxes and stuff. Fascinating stuff.
Yeah. The first thing that a person, would mention about ITC is the conventional PSP7, S-Box, the conventional, those usual things. And very often it's the PSP7 that, most people are aware of because they're on the TV shows. My mind, a hacked Timex radio. Now, a lot, some of these there's a lot of other radios where you cut the mute wire in it, and the basis of how it works is it scans, but it doesn't stop. Like, if you press, you've got your digital tuner. It's an analog radio with a digital tuner. You press scan, it's silent until it gets to a station. Inside a lot of these radios, there's a wire that it mutes the sound. So when you press scan, you got silence until a station comes along. If that wire is cut, it doesn't go silent, and in fact, when it gets to a station, it just keeps going. So you get snippets of different words and frequencies and stuff like that. The theory is that one of the big theories that I recently looked up was that when the sound of the snippets and the frequencies leave the speaker, it creates electromagnetic field. That electromagnetic field is then manipulated in some way to create the words that they want to say. Now, a lot of people would say it's like spin the bottle. You ask it a question, ask it for a name. There's loads of names, comes out on the radio, a name's going to come out. That's true. But on my channel, I often do. You know, say if I'm recording for a half an hour, every 10 minutes will say, I need to do communications check. Can you say hi, Sam, if you can hear me right now? And umpteen times I get hi, Sam. That goes beyond pure chance. You know? And, you know, we're getting curse words. You know, people are always looking for the curse words, but the reason why it's not just the negative side of the paranormal that people are fascinated with. Curse words, you know, when you think of the FCC and broadcasting regulations, you're not allowed to curse on the radio. And very often you will get swearing coming from this, possibly from a communicator that's a bit flustered or having an argument with you or having an argument with another communicator. You know, and I don't call them spirits, I just call them communicators. Yes, very often they say that they're spirits and ghosts and all sorts of things. But very often, you know, the more you use it, the more unusual stuff that will come out. And when you try to link it up with a possible radio broadcast, some of these things just don't add up.
Yeah.
You know? But, you know, for a beginner, I actually wouldn't recommend a PSP-7. I think it's a bit noisy. You got this ear fatigue and stuff like that. If you're in America, pick yourself up one of these for £5, $5, $10, $15. You know, I've been using this every day for the last month. And there's been some fantastic stuff coming out of it. I don't make a song and dance about it because something unusual happens every day. Do you know? You see in the paranormal community, oh, this ghost of such and such said this and said that. That's sensationalized stuff.
See,
You know?
this is why I always say to people, especially the ambulance chasers, when they do these, and there's a particularly famous one we all know about, and they deliberately do these spirit box sessions within 48 hours of this person, celebrity, whoever, dying. That person's name is going to be mentioned on so many radio stations at that point, probably more so than any other time in the entire time this person was like famous. And this is why I always say, one, I don't agree with ambulance chasing anyway.
Yeah.
But if you're going to do it, don't do it immediately after this person dies, because you are going to pick their name up on a radio umpteen times. That isn't evidence. That's deliberately slanting the odds in your favour.
Yeah.
Recently, I've actually, you know, because I'm using a clock radio and the time is right up in front of the screen, and if it comes on to 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock or something like that, if I remember, I say, remember folks, the news is going to be on in a minute, so there could be some things about death or blah blah blah. It's always bad news, so just be aware that the news is going to be on for the next 3 minutes. You know, but you know, been using it half an hour a day for the last month, and you know, I'm gone beyond I'm gone beyond this thing about the debate. Does it work or not? We just know it works. We don't have to prove it to other people. If they don't look into the evidence that's already been shown by real ITC people, that's on them, not us. You know, our job is not to prove anything to these people. We just want to achieve the paranormal for ourselves, you know, and if people accept it, they accept it. If they don't, that's on them. You know, there's loads of evidence out there. There's loads of bullshit out there too. That's unfortunate. You know?
Yeah.
But
it's like you say, Sam, you do have to be very, very careful and very aware of what is actually on the radio at the time.
Yeah, you get these streamers. They do streaming ghost box sessions, and you look at the once the Spurt box was on, the chat goes at 100 miles an hour, and every single word comes up. It's not all relevant to the questions that are asked. You
And
know?
the other thing I find, and and we've all been guilty of doing it. Anybody who's ever done a spirit box do it. Is when you let the actual stuff coming through the box dictate the narrative,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and you start to get carried away with it, and you literally you start to invent a story totally based on what's coming through.
Yeah,
You should ask a question and stick to it.
I've
And if
often
something else comes through, don't go off on a tangent with it.
Yeah, I've often asked for a name of a communicator, and a name will come up. The thing is, the names come up on the radio all the time. What you need to do is you need to ask that name a number of times, and that name needs to come up after your answer on a number of occasions. That's why I don't start calling out for John or James or there is a couple of names. But those names come up with no information, like Ethan, Aaron, Ed. Every single session I've done the last month, these three names are coming up. Yeah. But I've got actually no information. The interesting thing is, what I was thinking in my head is, could Ethan be a DJ and they're talking about Ethan? No, it can't be, because I've done sessions in the middle of the night and during the morning, and Ethan's coming out all the time. Yeah. So you need to sort of eliminate that a program is not talking about a specific person by doing sessions at different times of the day and night to see are the results the same. And if the results are the same, there's something unusual going on there.
That was our conversation while you were talking. Evelyn said, oh, you probably read that, did you? I watched the one Sam put out on a research channel yesterday and it was awesome. Is it okay, Sam, to put times in, or would you prefer I didn't?
Or what do you call it? Timestamps and whatever.
Yeah.
That's very, very helpful. It is. But you just have to remember that when I ask a question, we're looking for a specific answer. The scan is still going to come up with full words that's not relevant. And you'll see it especially on streams where people are putting out every single word that's coming out of the Spurt box, and most of it is not relevant to what it's been trying to communicate.
Yeah.
Communication, when you think about it, it takes more than one. If words are coming through and it's not relevant to your questions, then it's not communication.
Yeah.
There's a crease there. I must look back on that. Well, it fucking does too, huh?
It really does.
I kept looking at it another.
They're very observant, our viewers.
What's really scary is the big hairy man underneath it.
You made it thanks too. Oh, we have
I
the
weren't
best.
sure whether Sam could see the chat or not.
That was clever. That was very, very clever. I didn't even notice that.
No, I didn't actually.
No, not until Brett had said it. Oh,
We always deteriorate at some point. I've got an headache now for laughing. I'll be back in a sec. I'm just going to grab me 2 paracetamol.
When you
okay.
come back, I'm gonna go have a coffee when
Yeah,
Brett
make
comes
some
back,
coffee.
and you know, I like when people ask questions, you know, because
Yeah, it keeps the conversation rolling.
you know, and we'll always put you right. We're not going to jump to conclusions. And at the end of the day, actually, if you ask an opinion on something, we'll give you our opinion. You know, whether we're right or not is another thing. You know, and we can only tell you about our own experiences, really. You know.
Exactly. Even what we say, you don't have to agree, or you can have your own opinion. And the brilliant thing about it is sitting there talking and having differences of opinions,
Yeah.
but talking about it in a friendly way where you can actually learn.
Yeah. You know, there's a lot of people that dismiss a lot of things. You know, for example, say the spirit box and stuff. And very often, a lot of people that dismiss it are the ones that don't actually do. You know, if they think it's bull, they're not going to use it a lot. They're not going to use the spirit box a lot because they think it's nonsense anyway.
Mm.
You know, and they're just going to say, well, you know, it's just snippets of radio. But the thing is, there is information out there. There is channels that, you know, do it honestly. They don't jump to the conclusions. They're very extremely hard to find, but there is ones out there, you know. And, you know, that's why the last month, I just turn on the box. I'm not saying hello spirits or anything like that, because the more time you say spirits, the more likely it is that a communicator is going to follow you and say spirits, and everybody's going to freak out. You know, they're communicators to me, and that's it. They're not dead people. There possibly are, but I'm not going to ask when did you die.
No, I think it's a lot more. There's a lot more to it. It's not just spirits. I think it's a lot more entities, beings, whatever it is that we want to call them. There's a lot
the
more
way
there.
yeah, the way I look at it is, you know, you're turning on a communications and you're getting communications coming in. Now, there has been evidence that they actually can see you, and there was a case recently where they says, well, if you can see me, what's sitting beside me? And they said dog, and the dog was sitting on the armchair beside me.
Mm.
You know, but
Yep.
I'm not going to go down the route of when did you die and all this kind of crap. Even
Yep.
though in my head I'm possibly thinking these may be people that passed on or in a different dimension, kind
Yep.
of thing. Do you know?
See, that's
But
that's the thing. What? Say they're not actually dead, and you sit there going, "When did you die?" They're going to think you're totally crazy.
yeah,
Yeah.
I cringe at that now. Do you know? I have gone down that route. I have taken it for granted that we're talking to spirits because I followed the flock like everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to break out from that, and that's why I'm doing it in this kind of way. You know?
I love dowsing rods.
Yeah. I can't remember who it was too. I think it might have been Kim said, in the right hands, they can be a very, very good tool. And I agree with that. I think
They are probably one of the few things that pretty much work in anybody's hands.
Mm.
You know, and they do work. There's no doubt about it, and I don't know how they work, but they do definitely
they,
work.
st- they do
Mm.
sting. They do sting my hands a bit.
Yeah,
There's something about. It's like an electrical feeling. It's
Yeah,
like
they tingle.
they're like it's like whatever is communicating with you. It's not just a case of putting. Say if you had a block of wood and you drill 2 holes in it and put the dowsing rods, you need to be touching it.
hmm
Yes.
You're part of the thing. You're
yeah.
part of the whole thing, and
You're best using dowsing rods barefoot, so you're literally fully in connect. You know, in connection with the ground.
Hmm.
yeah, it's just I found it a very weird experience.
Yeah, yeah,
I was very skeptical of it, but and yes, you can manipulate them to a certain extent. People say you can't move them at all. You actually
oh
can,
yeah, you can.
but when you get to them to a certain point, you've lost control of it. Then,
Yeah,
but you can
yeah,
actually manipulate them. But there is some sort of energy going through or coming out of your body or going into your body. I don't know, but there is a. It's a stinging
yeah.
electrical sensation. It's quite
Well,
strange.
if you think about it, Sam, we are, what is it, 90% water, the body, something
Yeah,
like that. If you think about it, we are one giant conductor. We are literally one walking energy conductor. You know,
yeah,
the body functions by electrical impulses. Our bodies are designed to carry energy currents all over the place. So
yeah,
things like dowsing rods. Are we just extending that electrical capability into the rod?
yeah. It's like an antenna of some kind,
Yeah.
you know.
Well, crystals, Jazz. It's scientific fact that quartz is what they call. I don't know if this is the correct pronunciation. Piezoelectrical. I know how it's spelt. I don't know if it's actually pronounced that way. And basically, if you apply pressure to a piece of quartz crystal, it will actually start generating its own electrical field. And that that,
I
that is a known scientific fact. That is a
yeah,
quality of quartz crystal.
I I
I,
actually when I go into these shops and I see these big massive crystals, I just want to put my hands
touch
near.
him. Yeah.
I actually can feel. I can actually feel some sort of an energy off it. Now,
Yeah.
I don't know if it even, I don't even know if it can be actually measured by scientific instruments. I know that there is something with
Yeah.
crystals,
I
you know.
don't fully subscribe to, oh, you need a rose quartz to do this,
Yeah,
or a such and such to do that, but I do believe that they possibly do store and project certain frequencies of energy that are beneficial in certain ways, pretty much like how Reiki works.
Yeah,
do
I
you
believe they have an energy. I've
Yeah,
held certain crystals in my
yeah,
hands, and you can feel them tingle.
yeah.
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 Do you think that the crystal on Earth is the cause of the Earth's magnetic field? Possibly.
It's certainly part. Well, the magnetic field is caused by the molten core rotating
All right,
in the Earth. That is what creates the magnetic field.
all right.
But with the amount of minerals in the Earth's crust, no doubt, that quartz is a natural amplifier. They do play a big part in
Yeah.
magnetic fields,
Yeah.
without a doubt.
Absolutely.
I'm going to go and have my coffee.
I just
Back
made
in a
me
second.
one while I grab me some
All right.
tablets.
Back in a second, folks.
Okay.
Yeah, but you do get people out there who claim, oh, if you've got bad eyesight, you need to use a tiger's eye or whatever. I can't say I subscribe to that line of thinking, but I do think certain crystals are beneficial to have near, and that they definitely do store energy, without a doubt.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a lot of crystals. I collected them. I went through that whole crystal phase, and I can't say that any of my crystals have ever done one specific thing that
Hmm.
they're supposed to do.
Yeah.
but I have felt the vibration from them.
You're right. Crusty earth and burning bushes. It's all happening this morning. You're right,
Oh, it
Seeger.
is Seago. It's all going down here.
The
No,
last thing,
not here, but on
the
the
last
channel.
thing, the last thing you want is sand in your burning bush. There you go.
That'd be painful. Oh dear.
I've actually got to get some new glasses because I went for a test a couple of weeks ago and they want 120 quid for my new glasses and I can't afford it yet, so
Oh,
I'm going to have to wait.
Jesus.
But to make it worse, Jace trod on these and flattened them, so that's why they're crooked at the moment. He literally stood on them and flattened them, handles and everything.
Jeez.
Pop both lenses out, so but I need new ones because things are blurred. If I take them off, I can't see it. I cannot even see you, Julie. You're just a blurry blob. Yeah, that's how bad my eyesight's gone now.
You need glasses.
Yeah, but he literally 5 seconds after I told him, be careful, my glasses are there, he stood on them and literally crushed them flat, crushed the handles and poked both lenses out.
Do you think sunspots and solar flares affect paranormal activity?
Possibly, because they affect radio signals and stuff on the planet. And a big enough solar flare could actually burn out all the electricals on the planet.
Mm.
And if things that are occurring are energy based, solar flares put out a massive amount of energy. They could quite easily amplify or dampen it, I presume.
Especially if it's affecting other electrical sources as well.
Yeah,
definitely.
Have you ever had Reiki, Julie?
I have once. Yes, I have once. It was a bit of a weird experience for me. I think that after I had it, I felt like, when you get low oxygen in your blood and you're a little bit, you feel almost like you're a little bit high.
Yeah.
You're not dizzy, but you're lightheaded kind of.
Yeah.
I was like that for a little while after I had it done.
Yeah, I had it done to try it, and I think I'll be honest, I was skeptical. I thought this is a load of fucking new age mumbo jumbo. Somebody sitting there offering their hands over you and claiming that they're projecting energy into your chakras and all sorts of this stuff. And honestly, I can say when it was finished, I was buzzing at the end of it. Literally, I was so relaxed, but I felt like I'd been charged up like a battery. Yeah. I felt like I'd had the best night's sleep I'd ever had, and I was that energized at the end of it. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, you do feel it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever had it, Sam? You're muted again. You're busy hiding and having sex again.
Are we talking about Reiki?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, not as such. But some similar things, yes.
Well, what similar have you had?
Well, possibly what I had was Reiki. Possibly.
Which was?
The hand healing things and putting crystals on you and that kind of stuff.
See, that's another one. The crystal healing. That's somewhere else I'd like to try. Where they put, because to me that's like a cross between Reiki and acupuncture type thing, innit?
Yeah, I went to this fair once and there was this person lying on a bed and they had these, the quartz crystals with the points on them.
Yeah.
There was actually a laser going through the quartz. I don't know what the healing is called. I can't remember.
It projected lasers through it?
Yes.
It's a new one. I heard of that one.
Yeah. A lot of people believe that, you can get similar effects by just walking on the beach on your bare feet and stuff like that. But when you think about the beach and that, you're going to have a lot of quartz in the sand and stuff, and you're earthing your body to the Earth's magnetic field. You're the natural EMF of the Earth, And, a friend of mine reckons the reason why I'm having so much pains is because I'm living high up. I'm not earthed properly to the
Is that
Earth's
what
magnetic.
they've said?
Oh, you're not grounding them enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, that could actually be true.
Well,
Yeah.
along with having 10,000 volts power lines outside my house, which isn't.
Yeah.
Oh, that ain't good.
No, it's not good.
No.
So you always feel some sort of energized from walking on the beach in your bare feet, winter or summer. You're going to be flipping cold in the winter, but when I get that opportunity, I'll do it.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's what I felt like, Seago. I honestly, at the end of it, I honestly felt like I'd been sitting in a battery charger and I'd been charged up. I can honestly say it was, not only was it the most relaxed I'd ever felt, I was literally buzzing. It was like I'd just drunk a cup full of pure caffeine. That's how I felt.
Yeah.
Did
Absolutely,
you
because
get
I was really skeptical about it. Really,
did did you get like me? I've been told that I'm a healer.
right?
Usually, when you're like, you can sit there and you can kind of you meditate on it, and your hands get really freaking hot.
Mm-hmm.
Did you get that with the person that
Yep.
did Reiki on you?
Yep.
Like the hands get really super
Well,
hot.
they never actually touched me. It was all done above.
Mm.
They never actually touched me physically. It was all done. She said it was being projected down.
Like a
But
couple of inches from you, sort
yeah,
of thing. Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I got the sense of where her hands were. That was really weird.
Mm. No, she did that with me too, except for my shoulder because of the injury and that I have in my back and that. She asked my permission first, but
Yeah.
this area when she was doing it, she actually put her hands on me. So yeah,
Because while I did mine, she got me to visualize things as well.
yeah,
I had to visualize colors and it projecting from certain parts of my body. It was fascinating how it was done. So it was like a combination of Reiki and visualization, I suppose, is the best way of putting it.
Yeah. Some people use frequency as well. So
Yeah, I've heard of it
uh,
being done with tuning
with
forks.
tuning forks and stuff like that. I do it to my knee every so often. It's the middle one that seems to work for me. I don't know, but yeah.
Jazzy said, I noticed when I try to meditate, it plays up with my mental health in a bad way. Maybe you're not grounding yourself properly, Jazz. That's just the way I do it anyway. Other people might not believe in it, but when I
To be honest with you,
start,
meditation suits all people.
no,
I think
I don't think it's for everyone.
for some people, I think it can have a negative effect.
But yeah, I always ground myself. You pretend like not pretend, you visualize there's roots going from your feet into the ground and it grounds yourself before you do it. That's how I do it anyway.
Sam, I cannot unsee that T-shirt now. Every time I look at you, I keep seeing that T-shirt. I just cannot unsee it.
Yeah.
There,
It's a bit-
that's perfect where it is now.
Yeah. It was a bit like the background I had a while back where Brett started laughing and I was wondering what he was laughing at. But when I moved, it was Grand Theft Auto, woman in Grand Theft Auto. I done the picture and she was sucking a lollipop. And the microphone was right in the middle and she was right at the back of my head. And when I moved, it looked like she was sucking the microphone.
Oh. Alright.
I've got to be honest, I ain't done it for ages, meditation. I used to do it. When I first started doing it, it used to give me really chronic headaches. But eventually I got into the swing of it.
I do it every night when I go to bed. and meditate, and then it just puts me out like a light.
I'd rather do it to sounds. I like rain or stuff like that.
Yeah, I have
Yeah.
sounds playing on my phone beside the bed. Yeah.
Yeah, these radios also have little four sound banks. We had I was at a friend's house the day before yesterday. We decided we just put on the sound of the sea, and there was seagulls and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Next thing, there was flipping seagulls flying around the house. You know?
So I'm laughing at Tara's comment.
Yeah, singing bowls. Good job. I have 2 of them.
Yeah, I got to get myself one of them.
Yeah.
I love the sound of them.
That probably wasn't the best place to put that comment, Julie.
I just.
Oh, damn it.
I love singing bowls. I absolutely love them.
Me too.
Can you hear that pulsing? I can actually feel that.
Yeah.
You've got that down to a fine art, Sam.
Yeah, the trick is actually not to have.
Much contact with the bowl.
Yeah, because it deadens it, and it's the shape of this particular one that makes it easier for me. You know.
You should record that and loop it and make
Yeah, you
videos.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know. Yeah, that's the other one. But the other one, it's you very often sometimes you get these singing
What's that one
bowls.
sound like? Try that one.
Yeah, try that one.
Yeah, it is. It is slightly more difficult because it's been hand beaten and it's not perfect.
Mm-hmm.
You can tell she's been practicing with them.
I think I like that one better. The other
Yeah, I
one's
like that one.
more high.
This one is more difficult.
That's really calming, that one.
But it gets to the point where you don't just hear it, you can actually feel it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe I'll use the stick I made myself.
It tingles.
Yeah, you get a clearer sound with that.
Yeah.
You see, it's not perfect. It's hand beaten,
Yeah.
and this one it slides around easier. But you know, you get these on all of them with a felt thing for hitting. You know, just hitting it like that. But the problem is when you're doing this often deadens it a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why I made my own, and that actually is the handle of a brush
Ah.
and a smaller dowel, and I just drill a hole and put it into it.
Did you cut a wooden spoon up to make that?
That's
looks like
what
the
it
end- Yeah, it looks like the end of a wooden spoon.
A handle of a wooden spoon, yes.
Yeah.
That's what it was, and I
Yeah.
drilled a hole on a. That actually was a piece of a curtain rail, actually,
Yeah.
and I just
It actually sounds better with that wooden one.
Yeah. You see, when you put felt on it like that, you slightly deaden it. It's good for this, where it doesn't damage it and that.
Yeah.
But when you go to do the thing, you don't want stuff deadening it. That's why I use one without the deadening felt on it, you know.
Yep.
But that's them,
I love that.
you know. You know.
Now you got to learn to play the didgeridoo, Julie.
Not allowed. Only men can play it. Are you saying I have a penis?
You can identify as a man for one show.
I can, but no, I wouldn't do that. Only the women can play it. We have like the women have the clap sticks and other bits and pieces, but no, not me, right? I'll play the singing bowls. I actually almost bought a crystal bowl many years ago. It was a big one, but it was going to cost me like $300 for one bowl.
Yeah.
And they come in different notes. So if you want to play different notes, you have to buy different bowls.
Different bowl.
Yeah.
So that's kind of
well,
crazy.
either that or put, you know, if you've got the big, you know, some of the big brass singing bowls, you can change the frequency by adding a little bit of water.
Water, yeah.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah. Actually, you'll see when you run it, the water vibrating inside the bowl. Some people put the water in the bowl and do their thing to put that frequency through it, and they think drinking it is a part of a healing thing. I don't know.
That's interesting.
Yeah. They charge or they put their crystals. Put a crystal in there. They think that the vibration charges the crystals and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah, I've seen those drink bottles that you can buy, and there's a big crystal in the bottom of it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yep.
Kim says her sister's got a rose quartz one.
Oh, a bowl.
Mm-hmm.
I'm jealous. I'm very jealous. They sound amazing.
Well, that's how they say you test, you know, whether wine glass is a proper cut crystal or not, is by running your finger around the top.
Yeah.
If they start to sing, that means they're genuine crystal.
Yeah.
Rather than a cheap glass imitation.
Now, I got this in a charity shop, and I found out that this actually can resonate as well.
Does that work?
Oh, hold on a second now.
Is it copper?
Brass.
It's brass. It looks like brass. Well, I like that one. It's nice and deep.
It's deep, yeah, because of the shape of it. But this wasn't designed.
That one's my favourite one, I think.
It wasn't designed for this, actually. It was just a...
I actually prefer that one to all three of them. Well, that's good, Sam. It sounds like a motorbike now.
That was clever. Can you use that as a trigger object? I've seen people, I should say, use tuning forks and things.
Mm-hmm.
Or they add that frequency to their ITC and stuff. I wonder, will this work?
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. You don't drop it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just to try and keep it on the hand and
Yeah.
not hold it too
Yeah.
much.
Yeah, that one works as well.
Well, that's a high pitch one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it works.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a bit of candle wax in the inside of it, which is affecting it a bit, but it should work. Do you know, if you can get something metal like that that's quite even,
You're
is
fucking terrible.
something.
Because I said I go riding tomorrow, and Brett's just got a filthy mind.
Take your burning bush cream with you.
Oh my god.
Everybody's going to want to be buying singing bowls now, Sam.
Yeah.
Yeah, I keep an eye on mine here, but they don't have singing bowls. But I'll get one online.
Oh, you'll probably get one. You probably should be able to get one off eBay.
Yeah, or
Yeah.
Amazon.
Have you got something like Etsy over there?
Yeah, we've got Etsy, eBay, we've got a few other online stores and that. We do have a store called Ishka over here, and they sell all, like, you know, new age spiritual stuff like singing bowls and
Yeah.
jewelry and stuff. I don't know if they're still around anymore though, because they were closing a whole heap of stores, but I might check there. Oh, shut up. Riding with a burning bush and singing bowls.
Yeah, but we proved that you didn't even need a singing bowl to do a
Yeah.
singing bowl thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just a nice brass bowl. It might happen with it if you had a good glass. Maybe it might work. I don't know.
I have no
Yeah.
idea about working notes out, so you go. Jace could do it because he's a piano teacher, but I can't. Oh, Julie's found something to try it with.
No, I have a chalice, but I don't think that would work.
Try it.
It
I don't
might.
even know what metal it is.
Oh, but the second one that I used, it wasn't solid brass.
It's from the jewelers. Maybe.
You know, it might work along the top.
I wouldn't have anything to bash it with.
You need a wooden spoon.
All right, I'll go get a wooden spoon. Hang on.
You can bash it with a wooden spoon.
Just the handle of it, possibly. You know.
This is going to be like Britain's Got Talent.
Yeah.
Especially big brass ones. They certainly do, Jazz.
Yeah, some of the Tibetan bowls were hand beaten, but I just sometimes I find it difficult where there's an uneven dent. They're
Well,
not
if you think about it, Sam, all the traditional Tibetan ones would have been hand beaten anyway.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah, that's what you
It's
need.
had a lot of use, this thing.
Yeah, tap it with the spoon part of it, and then get the handle to spin it around.
Is it okay if I leave it on the table, or should I
No,
hold it?
you've got to have it on your hand because it'll deaden the desk will deaden it otherwise.
Just bash it on the top?
Yeah.
No, the side, somewhere halfway down. Yeah.
No, there's no way that'll work. Nah, see, he can
There's
hear
something
it.
dead. There's something dead in it.
I think it's the cup that's dead.
You've got to tap it, not try and bowl it off your hand.
When you're putting it on your hand, try putting it as less contact on it as possible. I know it's very, very difficult.
I think it's just the wrong kind of metal.
It might be. It might not be resonant enough.
I think it's too dense. Just no. I'm just sitting here like ding, 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 ding.
You're gonna have to get a proper one off eBay.
Yeah, even it's. I think the shape is kind of important. You know that rounded shape.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know?
Goes out at the top.
Yeah, because it creates a resonance chamber, doesn't it?
When I'm spinning the stick around, it's on the outer part of the furthest out point of the glass. So technically, if you have a drinking glass like this, you might be able to do it too. Like a wine glass or something.
Yep.
Do you know?
I don't have crystal though. I've just got the cheap glasses Brett calls it.
So avoid.
Yeah.
I've got no quartz crystal.
No, not me either.
We ought to set this up one of the days of trying a spirit box session with using a singing bowl first, and then do one without the singing bowl and see if there's any difference.
Yeah. Just out of curiosity.
Yeah, some people add ambient sound, and what happens is, if you have a box with a slight bit of static, where you get that fatigue of the static, the hearing fatigue from static, and if you add ambient sounds, the person is more likely to listen to the ambient sound and take their focus off the actual static. And actually, an audio engineer that's an ITC researcher, there was a friend of his, he moved to the city, and he says he couldn't sleep because the traffic noise, and the ITC engineer friend says, try adding some white noise in your house. And he actually slept, a kind of static noise from your radio, a little bit of static. What happened was he slept well after that, and he actually, because he was focused on the static of the radio, the slight, not annoying, but just low down static. It's that frequency kills out the frequency of the traffic outside.
It makes you wonder if we're actually, because white noise is naturally occurring in it. It makes you wonder if we're actually attuned to need low levels of it to function properly. Because if you look at a lot of sleeping aids, they all use a very low white noise.
Yeah, I've heard of a lot of people leaving a fan on or something for the white noise to help them sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The time of, a couple of days ago when they mentioned about the, that hadron collider, and I was just watching the stream where they were scaremongering. Oh, it's just if you drink, don't drink, just in case, and it might affect us. The EMF might affect us, and after a little while, then I was getting this cracking headache. And I was wondering, am I actually listening to them and making shit up, which is causing my headache? Turned out, what I had was a external hard drive, and it was on the couch, and it was actually causing a buzzing noise that actually, that particular frequency was enough to give me that headache.
Jazz wants to pop up and show us
Yeah, I'm just going to send her a link.
I've said to take your rabbit out now and try it with a wooden spoon.
And Sam was talking about buzzing on the couch.
But the actual noise of that vibrating on my couch was enough to give me a cracking headache. So some fans can actually cause headaches. It depends on what frequency they go out at.
I'm really weird because I had to be in a room that was dead quiet to go to sleep. Now I always leave an audiobook playing. If I haven't got some low sound going off to the side of me, I really struggle to get to sleep.
Yeah.
Just got to wait for Jazz to turn up now.
Yeah.
We're going to get another singing bowl demonstration.
Yeah. Frequency is a very powerful thing because there was, there was bridges actually destroyed by marching soldiers. That's why, when the soldiers go...
There's rumours now that the military have actually got like sonic cannons in there that they're using to, sound waves are a powerful thing.
Yeah, but the military brought in this thing that when you're crossing a bridge, you don't cross the bridge and step, you break step because it was causing a frequency that actually causes the bridge to collapse. It wasn't the weight of the soldiers, it was actually that frequency that they,
Oh my god, I'm yellow.
Hi, Jazzy.
Hello.
Hello.
You could tell it's cold looking Australian in a dressing gown.
Jumpers and dressing gowns.
I can't see the chat, so sorry. What? Yeah, I'm freaking.
Go on then.
Ready? Can't see the chat, sorry guys, but. Oh. Yeah. Is that the noise?
No.
No. It looks like you're stirring your cauldron.
Is it metal?
It's brass.
Try and tap the outside of it. Do it.
The outside of it isn't even. You might get a resonance from the inside of it.
And the holes too, because
if you hang it off your nose, it'll hardly be touching any part of your body. Go on then.
Give it a go.
It actually sounds like a wasp.
It sounds different too, depending on where you hit it.
There's something dead in it.
Yeah,
that's
there's something
I can hear.
Definitely dead in it.
My soul.
Probably. It's like mine. Mine just, maybe someone was using it for sinister things and now I've got it in my home.
I was just hoping to hear it properly. I'm like, I think I can hear it.
You've got other cups or something though, don't you? Did you say?
Yes, I had a whole bunch of them, but I can't reach them. I'm too small.
Oh.
I'm a short girl, and I'll show you. I don't know how to flip the camera, but yeah, I can't reach the one up there.
That'd be ideal, that one.
Yeah, that one would be better.
I might be able to reach that one, I guess.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh, that one looks like it might be good.
Yeah.
One up there. My short ass up there, and if I break it, it's all your fault because it's not mine for fighting.
Okay.
How the fuck do I do
Just
this?
tell them we made you do it.
I'm just going to do it from up here because I can't actually get it off.
Okay.
No, that was broken. Will it work if it's broken?
I don't
What's
know.
broke, honey?
The
Watch nothing drops out while you're reaching.
no, we used to hunt things around here, so it's broken there.
I don't know. That would be an ideal one though.
That'd probably affect it, the crack in it.
The
Yeah,
chains might deaden it too.
that was
Yeah.
crap. Don't worry about that one. That was crap. A whole bunch of little ones, but he packed them away. The kids were getting to him.
You need a little step ladder, Jazz. Oh, we'll see.
There's that one up there. Okay. All right. I thought I'd try it.
That was a good try anyway.
I'm like, I can totally do that. Why don't you not? At least tonight there's no spiders, isn't it? No, we hope.
See, we don't have that worry over here. Nothing's going to jump out and kill us.
Does
Yeah.
everything kills you.
I have the children that might have happened to me.
Jazzy actually gets snakes at her place.
Lovely.
Yeah. Big ones that can kill me. My favourite. Last time I got bitten by a snake, I swelled for 9 months. You know, that's
I don't do snakes at all. Oh.
I meant because I was pregnant with a kid. Yeah. Alright, I'm going to jump off and continue listening from the sidelines.
All right. Thank you, my
Okay.
darling, for coming and showing us.
Alright, bye.
Right, bye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, I think the chains were deadening the sound.
Brett likes. I'll bet you like chains.
What they say. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but whips and chains excite me.
You got some red room tucked away upstairs, don't you?
Oh, it's not red.
Oh,
I actually put the post up the other day. I had to laugh to mount the camera for the bird table, and it's a 75 by 75 8-foot post, which I've cemented in the garden. And Jace was in here, and I shouted him. He's deaf as a post, so I had to keep shouting him. He come out, and I went, "Can you come here, Jace?" And he says, "What for?" I said, "I need to know where to put the handcuffs." And he got in a right flap in case the neighbours heard.
Oh, Kimmy said she has the whips, Brett.
Cool. I actually had a friend who used to have a dungeon in his attic, believe it or not, and he used to rent it out. He used to rent it out to people. He used to make a lot of money out of it.
A dungeon in the attic.
Yeah,
Oh my god.
a proper playroom type thing. And he used to, believe it or not, he used to make a fortune out of it.
Like 50 Shades of Grey dungeon.
Yeah, he used to get like film companies come and do things up there and all sorts. Yes, he used to make a fortune out of it. And he lived in a little semi-detached house, but it was all built in the attic. Cages and handcuffs and padded walls and all sorts.
I don't know if it was just me, but I watched that movie.
I've never seen it.
When he takes her in that room, I'm like, what the hell does half this crap do?
But I'm sure going to find out.
Yeah.
Oh, it's full on.
50 Shades of Grey only recently started coming back up again with the UK politics about these parties that the government were having while telling everybody has to stay at home.
Yeah.
And the person that was the person that was sent to investigate was Sue Gray.
Yeah.
And there was so many parties and so many different stories. They called it 40 Shades of Sue Gray.
Yeah, they did.
Mm.
The three of them now. 3 of them 50 Shades of Grey. I've never seen any of them. Pocket Watch says that movie was unrealistic crap. Obviously speaking from experience.
Yeah, I think there was 3. Oh God, Kim says, Julie, you've led a sheltered life. Yes, I have. And now I'm getting too old.
40 Shades of Grey is my hair colour. And mine.
I think we're all grey at this point. We just hide it.
Yeah, I've only yesterday moved this computer over here, and I'm feeling very, very uncomfortable because I've got this horrible doll staring at me the whole way through this fucking stream.
Yeah, Boris has gone, Joe. He has. What you
Oh,
reckon,
and
Sam?
she's just dropping everything.
Yes.
Ugh.
It's a copy of the. There's
Yeah, I know what it is.
The UK haunted doll.
Yeah, horrible thing.
Yeah, her eyes are horrible.
They
But
are.
that's who's staring at me the whole way through this flipping stream.
My mother's house is full of things like that. You go in and they're everywhere. Literally everywhere. I've said when it finally shuffles off a mortal coil, I'm going to go there and stamp on them all.
Boris is gone. Oh, yeah, I heard about that.
Yep, he's gone.
Yeah.
They'll have to. The stand-up comedians will have to find somebody else to take the piss out of now.
Mm-hmm. I actually quite like Boris. He was, you couldn't trust a word out of his mouth, but he was entertaining.
I remember before he was Prime Minister, there was a big pile of news reporters outside of his house, and they were looking for a statement off him. And he came out in his shorts and a tray of tea, and he made tea for everybody.
Yeah, I remember that.
Do you know?
I wonder who the next one's going to be. Have they talked about that yet? Who's stepping in?
No, it'll be a few weeks yet. They've said who the main candidates are, but
There's 8 of them or whatever, but sure, it'll be more the same old shite.
yeah,
That's what politics is.
It's politicians. They're all self-serving before they deal with anybody else.
Same as Australia.
Yeah.
Do you get to vote?
No, they pick it. The party itself picks its leader.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yep.
Yeah. Thing was, there was about, was it 40-something ministers resigned in 24 hours. It left him with no power at all because everybody had gone.
Yeah, his entire cabinet and about half his party just resigned on him.
Yeah, but that could indicate a possible general election if the Tory party are in tatters, if they can't get their act together, if the Labour Party put a no confidence vote on Boris Johnson or the government, it could put the country into an election.
The problem we had, Julie, was we had a very bad lockdown thing over here. It went on for 2 years, and they were literally coming on the TV every night. They were literally doing a broadcast every night from Downing Street saying, "Oh, you can't, this has been stopped and that's been stopped, and you can't see your dying relatives and blah 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 blah." And then it came out that all the while the nation was inside, both the Conservative and the Labour Party were having get-togethers and nice little drinky poos and stuff. So it didn't go down well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just pathetic. All right.
Let's get
We're
off
gonna
the
end the
topic
stream,
of
yeah.
politics.
I was going to end it now. We've been on for almost 3 hours.
You can't end it, yeah. You've still got a minute and a half to go.
Okay, minute and a half.
Yeah, you've got to hit the 3 hours before you end it. So, yeah, I think we ought to do that, Sam. Do a singing bowl with a spirit box session.
Yes.
And what'd actually be interesting if Sam does one with the bowl and does a spirit box, and then she does it again with the singing bowl, and you do your spirit box, Julie, while we're live, and then we'll see what comes through.
Yeah, we can do that. That'd be a good little experiment.
Yeah, because you'll be hearing the sound through your feed. Why am I chewing my house keys?
I have no idea. I was trying to figure out what you were chewing.
I'm chewing my house keys. I'm getting hungry.
Oh,
I ain't
lunchtime.
eaten. I ain't eaten yet, and it's nearly 2:30. Well, it is 2:30 here. I haven't eaten a thing yet.
That's a bit naughty. You should have
Mhm.
eaten. Didn't you have breakfast?
No, I never have breakfast.
No.
Yeah, you're like me.
I never have breakfast. I just don't enjoy eating first thing on the morning.
Nah.
Neither do I, actually.
What keeps on beeping? Brett, what are you hiding?
I ain't heard nothing, B.
Nothing from here.
I know the beep.
There's no beep here. There's only my phone on the table and hasn't gone off.
Could be somebody's phone.
Not mine. I got the volume all the way down on mine too.
Mm.
And mine's on sleep mode.
No, the last message I had was off you for the link.
Oh.
Weird. I'll check your place, Jazz, if you're hearing beeps.
Nope, Jack in the shop heard it too. Something's running on low batteries.
We're all crazy here, Jack, I tell you. Welcome to crazy.
All right, we'll finish up now because we're on 3 hours and 56 seconds.
Yeah, I think you need to plug your rabbit back in, Jazz.
The Roadrunner. Beep beep. Is that what it's called? Oh, don't go there.
I'm waiting for the ice cream man to come because I've got some change. Do you know the Robin Bugger's put his ice creams up 30p in the last week?
Nah, that doesn't surprise me.
They've gone up now from £1 to £1.30. He's put them up by 33%.
Price of
Robin
diesel.
did. Yeah.
It's the price of diesel.
Yep.
Price of diesel.
It's worth more than gold now. Crude oil.
Yeah. Thank you to everybody that come in this evening and joined in the conversations. Thank you
Yep.
to Sam and Brett.
Thank you for having us, and thank you
Thank
everybody
you.
for coming on. It's always a laugh.
Yeah,
Please.
thanks very much.
You're welcome. We had a good stream.
Yep.
All right, we will see you guys next week if you can make it.
Yep. See you next week.
Yeah.
Don't forget, all the links for Sam and Brett are at the top of the chat if anyone wants them, and I'll add them into the description as well. All right. Good night, guys. Good day. Good evening.
Bye.
Bye.
Good luck now.